Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another DCU Daily. We are here to deliver all your Superman news because that's just how it's been for the last 2 months. It's just constant Superman, and we have even more Superman now that the day for most people, at least here in America, are going to be seeing the movie is coming out tomorrow with July 11th. Well, we got to pump you guys up. We got to pump these numbers up. We got to pump the people up. So more Superman news coming at you, but that's not it. Jason Momoa has another show coming out on Apple TV Plus. We got, some apparently Amazon news in regards to the Roadhouse sequel, as well as plenty of other fun things. Lots of TV show news, lots of streaming news, and we got some wicked stuff. Apparently Larry David is coming back with another show. Got some music stuff too. Sir Paul McCartney and Justin Bieber news in regards to that. So why don't we jump into all of this after that wonderful video showing us that we are indeed enough. So
it doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Got that news intro going. So welcome to the news, ladies and gents. We are here again, mostly Superman news. We are gonna get into all of it, so much more, and we already got some people in the chat. We got Enterprising. Hello. We got Caleb. Hello. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but we gotta tease all the things and music news. They're connected. It's fine. Movie Spud. Hello. Frankie G. Hello. And Monique, we also wish you the happiest of Thursdays. But obviously, I am not alone today. And we have this lovely gentleman here to join us to talk about Superman news. Daniel,
hello.
How are you doing today?
Hello. Continuing with the theme, I am here. And thank you for bringing me into the show. It is going to be a lot of, again, as per usual, a lot of news, but especially a lot of Superman news because, yes, it is the day that a lot of people, even some of you guys watching, probably let us know if you got a chance to see the movie today. Finally, Superman is here. And if you didn't get to go to one of the early screenings, then I'm sure today you got a chance to go. And some of you guys are still waiting, like Frankie, for the weekend. And we'll talk about, again, we want to nail down exactly, what your preference is for this spoiler conversation, the open spoiler conversation for Superman. We're still leaning on doing it tomorrow on Friday's show because I just think for just our show schedule's sake, it makes sense to do it tomorrow. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. I think we want to put a poll in the chat, ask you guys if you really would hate the idea of getting having us do the spoiler chat tomorrow, or if you really would like to wait till Monday. Obviously, if you watch the movie over the weekend, you can tell us that you prefer for us to do it on Monday, or maybe we watch the movie, you can come back and check out the spoiler chat after. But we'll get into that later. We do have other news, of course. There's a new Jason Momoa TV show. Guy Ritchie, is he still doing Roadhouse 2? Well, we have news on that. And like John said, Larry David is returning to HBO Max for a new TV show. We have new world tours, not just Superman World Tour, which is wrapping up with Beijing and New York, but we also have Sir Paul McCartney and Justin Bieber, two icons of the game, starting up new tours soon, as well as, of course, other news from the world of Hollywood, Wicked, as well as Love Island, if you're into that kind of thing. And well, there's a video game strike that was going on in Hollywood that is finally come to an end. So to talk about that and so much more, John, it is exciting. And as you mentioned, we have a million Superman things to get into. So let's just do that right off the top, shall we? Because I figured, we're going to be talking about Superman all show long. Let's just kick things off with some Superman stuff because we have to divide it up into multiple parts. Now, the first thing with Superman has to do with, the audience score is now out. It's official. John, if you do get a chance to open up the Rotten Tomatoes site, we can look at the latest number because I do believe it has fluctuated a little bit. But we'll start with looking at the number that was out there this morning because it kicked off with a 96%, which became pretty much the highest in the history of DC movies as a whole, which even now I believe is still sitting somewhere close. I think it might be 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. So the audience score still is, if it is at 95, if it is higher than 92%, it is the highest of any DC film ever. On that list, the second movie down, of course, is Zack Snyder's Justice League, which wasn't theatrically released, but still, a lot of folks saw the movie, and it was limited theatrical release. So there is the opportunity. Some people might have had to see it in theaters, and we'll go back to that list in a second. But John, there's over 2,500 verified ratings here, and then 95% popcorn meter. That might as well be perfect. 95 is one of my favorite numbers. But in general, that is a 4.6 out of 5. John, what are your thoughts? Are you surprised, excited? We saw the critic score kind of dip a little bit to 82 and then move back up to 83, or I guess right now this is the live number, right? So it's back down to 82. This has been fluctuating. I feel like it's probably going to hold at this point somewhere in the low 80s, but the audience score has definitely been a much higher than I think even a lot of people who love the movie expected it to be. What are your thoughts on it? What is your reaction? You're muted, by the way.
I think there's going to be a happy balance between what is it, the top critics and the all critics. Top critics 72. There's more.
Oh, Frankie. Oh, dude.
However,
okay, sorry.
But
a second.
So I think it's going to be like somewhere in the middle. I think it's going to be like now. I think it's going to be late 70s. I think it's going to be like 77, 78 for critics. I think it's going to hold like in the 90s for now for the audiences, but yeah.
Okay. I didn't even realize you guys in the chat. I'm collecting your reactions. Actually, let's get to that real quick. John, I already collected a few, and if you want to get going on those, I'm gonna collect a few more because Smacky, for example, hello Smacky, he's seeing it tomorrow, but we do have some ratings and reactions from you guys, like Caleb, Enterprising, Frankie couldn't wait till Saturday, and he went and saw it today. So John, if you want to pull those up, let's dive into that right now, because of course you guys tell us what you think about the movie. Again, we're not doing spoilers today still. That's we're gonna wait till tomorrow. I think at this point I'm starting to lean more and more towards the idea of just doing the full spoiler talk tomorrow. I think let's just stick to that. That's probably the best way to do it, and then that way we can have a long conversation, because if you don't do it tomorrow, then we won't have the ability to get Liz's input on there as well, because of course we want Liz's spoiler thoughts. She had a lot to say that she couldn't talk about on Monday. But John, let's pull in the comments. Let's start with Caleb. So Caleb said it was great. He said, wait, but hold on. Then Caleb said he saw Superman, and I didn't think it was good. So wait, sorry, John, you're muted again.
It was being a dramatic pause of like,
I see. Okay.
I saw Superman. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was great, and you know.
But did he do it in reverse? Because did I get it wrong? Oh, I see. Okay. I got it. Thank you, Caleb, for that fake out. Cool.
And then Frankie G was saying, I went to a screening earlier today. I couldn't wait until Saturday. Unfortunately, I was disappointed. I really wanted to love it. So, I mean, yeah, that's how it is. Although Enterprising was saying they saw Superman, not on the good part, but I see on the seen it part, I'd give, and Caleb said I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Enterprising was kind of similar to Frankie G. They liked it but didn't love it. Smacky, as we said, is seeing it tomorrow. Same with Johnny Rico. Movie Spud, they said Happiest Thursdays, got off work early and went in, saw Superman, and I really, really liked it. 8 out of 10. I'd now rank it third behind Reeves, Superman 1 and 2.
Okay,
Frankie
okay.
G probably would give it like a 6 out of 10. Enterprising gave it a 7 out of 10. I like Superman, but felt weird about the twist. I won't spoil. Yes, we are going to be getting into that tomorrow. Impressive ratings. If only skincare recommends came in this high. Let's do
Right?
spoilers tomorrow because I have a lot to say.
Dang.
I have
Yes.
literally okay. So the people I talk to in terms of comic book people who know comic books and people who like love the character, the commonality between all the things is like the twist, the two things. So between my cinema friends and my comic book friends, between my comic book friends, the twist, they hate it.
Okay, hold on. But we're talking
I'm
about
not
the
gonna
same
say
twist. We're talking about the twist that happens like early in the movie. It's
Earlier on
relatively
in the
early.
movie.
Okay, yes.
That's it's still a twist. It's still technically a spoiler, and we won't get into it because it's around like I don't know, somewhere in the second act, middle of the movie. So there's that. And then for my film, for all of the people who watch a lot of movies, who can and analyze movies, the commonality is the editing and the pacing is off. Like that's like the biggest thing in terms of that. And those were my two biggest issues with the movie was that twist and was the pacing and editing. Those were the big things. So yeah, thank you, Frankie G. We appreciate that. We want to share spots, but I don't want to spoil anything for people that haven't watched it because you're a good man, Mr. Frankie. Stash, this was an episode of the animated series Come to Life. It was so much fun. My son loved it. They gave it a 7 out of 10. I can say out loud that I know comics. The bad for some of the CGI, as they say, is wonky. It was too short, and some characters get shortchanged. I can see that. Us being around comics, we know it won't come out just like the issues, but the fact that it feels like a comic book is good. Movie went by way too quickly. I wanted more. Yes, I'm beginning to more so feel like that's a fault and not just, oh, hey, I like this world and I want to see more of the world and the characters. So here comes issue 2. Yes. Obviously we will, get into that. And and Enterprise, that's like I was left with wanting more because it was too short.
Because I'm like, you can look at that as a positive or a negative. So you got to let us know what you think, Enterprising. Were you left wanting more in a good way or a bad way? That's the key here. But yeah. I mean, look, it's smacking thing. I've just read All-Star Superman Birthright Up in the Sky in preparation. Look, that's great prep. That's exactly the stuff that James Gunn, I think, said that you should be reading. So we're glad that you had a chance to check those out. I couldn't even believe the twist. I was in denial, Frankie. Yeah, man,
that was me throughout. I'm like, are they gonna correct this? Or...
You know what it is? Because I thought they were gonna fix that eventually. Because without kind of giving up what it was. And Liz said the same thing. I feel like everybody I've talked to, they were like, oh, so they just kind of left that as is. It was like that's just it. Okay. But as far as the wonky CGI, yeah, like I do agree. Like this shot right here, definitely you can tell. Yeah, the pacing exactly. Now again, I also think that this is kind of tricky, right? Because people are going to see it now, and if they've been watching, like for example, you guys have been watching us talk about the movie. I hope that we didn't influence that take from you in the sense that because obviously it's if you did watch the show and you knew that the pacing, like John and I had concerns about it, but you for yourself might have just thought the same thing. I think it's more of a philosophical debate of because like it depends on how your overall experience was. I know that my experience watching Superman, it didn't get off to a good start because of the Jurassic World mishap, because the theater had the wrong movie playing, and it didn't help me because then I was like, man, like now we're an hour behind and John and Liz will be done with the movie. But still, when the movie started, it pulls you in pretty quickly because there's right off the top the movie just gets into the actions. Movie Spot saying the good David and Lois are excellent as Superman and Lois, off the charts chemistry. this is where like I was surprised that Bridget and Fiona said that wasn't like they didn't quite buy into it. But I mean, a lot of people do agree that they have great chemistry in the movie. Nicholas Hoult, dude. Yes, Nicholas Hoult was such a POS. Absolutely. I feel like this Lex is probably the most punchable Lex Luthor we have ever seen, even more so than Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, which tells you something. I don't know what, but it tells you something. Yeah, the pacing enterprising also saying was a bit of a problem. Monumental Comics, I almost think a movie moving at gun speed will mess with the Snyderverse watcher with the long stares and slow pacing. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the thing of they're two very different filmmakers. I don't know if for me the pacing was an issue because I enjoyed the Snyder movies. I mean, I enjoy a good movie, period. I love Christopher Nolan's movies, which the pacing in Christopher Nolan movies is about as good as any filmmaker out there ever. Denis Villeneuve's films, I watched Barbie, fantastic, Top Gun Maverick, all these other movies too, right? And even like The Brutalist, that's a long movie and you can feel the pacing. But each movie has a pace that works for it. I just don't think this movie in particular nailed the pacing along. Because the thing is, well, James Gunn does make movies that move at breakneck speed like Superman does. You still go back to examples like I think the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie for me is probably one of, if not the best paced movies in the history of the MCU. The first Iron Man movie comes to mind, Winter Soldier comes to mind, where you have moments where things slow down, then you have moments where things speed up. I feel like with this movie, it gets off to such a running start, which is on purpose because they want to, put you in the world that's already in motion. But then, like we talked about, the second act kind of like drags a little bit, not because there's not enough going on. It just feels like there's a lot of different things going on. I don't know, John, do you feel like that was like the second act felt really, like I said before, the word I used on Tuesday was scattered. And
Yeah, it was very, you know what it felt like to me? It felt like a frayed rope.
Gotcha.
Like
Yeah.
where it's like the ends are like taped together, but like the middle is like kind of like frayed and like kind of like kind of I don't know how to explain it like that, but it's like kind
It's
of
like there's a lot of like they open
it's
up.
Like it's like this. It's like
right.
The first act works. It kind of splits. It's kind of
like the movie
all over
loses
the
a bit of
place,
focus,
and then it comes
right?
back together, which made it like stick the landing, which I think worked for people. It
Yeah.
worked for me. Yeah.
And again, we will get into more
a lot
details.
Of decisions that should have been made in regards to the plot and story. But I think it didn't bother me. I'm just curious how I'm gonna feel when I go see it again tomorrow and how it will work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can go see it tomorrow too. I don't know if I'm gonna have time between all the other work that I have to do during the day and then the show in the night, especially because we're gonna be going up a couple hours earlier tomorrow so we can get Liz on the show and do the spoiler chat. So tomorrow's show is gonna go live at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So just definitely keep an eye out for that. And we likely will just spend the entirety of the show just talking about, kind of like on Tuesday, just talking about Superman, but in full spoiler fashion. And then we'll probably just do quick hits, whatever else is going on in the world of Hollywood outside of Superman, which is basically what we will be focusing on. The Watcher saying, just got back from my third screening of Superman. Gosh damn, it gets better and better. That opening, I think you mean like, it's fire. So I think the opening of the movie is fantastic. Pardon the pun, but yeah, I mean, look, The Watcher has an overwhelmingly positive experience with it. I know that some of you other guys who went to see it not as positive, but yeah, I mean the audience score matches up. It's in the 90s, high 90s. Frankie G saying, I can't believe this is coming out of me, but I have to admit Snyder made a better Superman film. Way more focused. His film was way more beautiful to look at. I agree with that statement. I still think now that I've sat with this movie for 3 days, again, only one viewing, so I feel like my opinion might change a little bit after the second time seeing it. Because I remember after watching The Batman for the first time, I was like, I nitpicked the hell out of The Batman. Then I watched it a second time and a third time. And The Batman is like a top 3, top 4 Batman movie, probably in my opinion a top 10 comic book movie ever made. So it, for me that could change too. But I do agree with the idea that I think Snyder's visuals are always better. I think when you compare James Gunn with Zack Snyder's visuals wise, storytelling, I think James Gunn does a better job with, like, as far as character development and stuff. Zack Snyder, when he's given a great script, he can work with that. James Gunn obviously can write his own script as well. James Gunn wrote the first script to Zack Snyder's first movie. So, like they go a ways back. But Man of Steel was also more focused on Superman because it was firmly an origin story, John, right? So maybe it's not it is a bit of a difficult comparison to make, because this Superman movie, while it is firmly a Superman movie, is not an origin story. So, and while there aren't as many overt setups for the future of the DCU, they are giving you a very thorough introduction into so much of the DCU. And I do believe that like we've been talking about the idea that, some characters got shortchanged. I think, Perry White got shortchanged. I don't think I got more Steve Lombard in this movie than Perry White. I feel like Lois Lane goes missing for definitely big parts of the second act. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the marketing kind of made it seem like we're gonna get a lot more of the Daily Planet and stuff like that, and maybe our expectations were built up when they didn't necessarily promise us those things. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of tricky how some of those reactions. It's hard. It's hard to make a movie that's going to please everyone, right? So I do hope, Caleb, again, as far as the twist goes, that they don't skip over it in the future. I definitely think they will have to address it somehow, because now, especially if they bring in any more characters connected to that twist will probably become a bigger part of the story, and it definitely paints a significant part of this new universe in a very different light than what we are used to, have ever been used to, even in all past iterations of DC Comics universes and Superman stories. It's very different. Yeah, there you go. Early post-crisis one Superman, more human, less alien versus pre. Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. I mean, without again going into too much detail. Yeah, a movie split. I think everybody who's talking about this movie keeps saying Crypto is still very much probably one of, if not the best part of the movie, because I feel like every time Crypto was on screen, the movie was alive. And I will even say that every time we saw David Cornsweet on screen, the movie was clicking, because even in the scenes where I had issues with what else was going on, David Cornsweet Superman was holding things up. Like, if it wasn't for him, I would have had a much more adverse reaction, which is, I'm glad, again, the casting is perfect. So, and the opening is fantastic. It's terrific. It's amazing. The way the movie opens is exactly the way a Superman movie should open, because it's right off the bat gives you an idea of what we are working with, who the Superman is, and obviously we get to see Crypto there as well. Oh, okay. Potentially Mr. Terrific Jimmy Olsen spinoffs are in development. Thank you, Watcher, because I will go looking for those right now. Because, dude, those are the two characters that we said were standouts, and we'll talk about them more during the show.
It's kind of a weird team up. Like, why Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen? Like, that's kind of... It just feels like they're taking the two most popular side characters and kind of just shoving them into a movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I think the visuals conversation, Caleb, is kind of a relative conversation too. It's also subjective. From a cinematography standpoint, I still think overall Zack Snyder's capacity to create great visuals is, generally speaking, better. But then again, I mean, both James Gunn and Zack Snyder have had bad days at the office with that. But they also, it's not like either of them has a bad visual style. This Superman movie is gorgeous to look at, and I would say 90% of the film, outside of some of the things that get wonky, Frankie's really not having a very good reaction to the movie, saying that DCU should have revolved around Matthews. The Batman universe was a perfect balance of comic book accuracy and realism. Okay, Frankie. So I didn't. I don't think Batman is going to be in this universe. Maybe a multiverse crossover eventually. Not likely, while these movies are still going, the Batman movies, that is. But less villains, longer runtime for the sequel, but still great overall. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, John? Do you think those are the things they can improve upon a longer movie? Because it just felt like I think all of us were worried: is this movie going to be overstuffed? And in a manner of speaking, I feel like in hindsight, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
I think
Would you agree with
I don't
that?
think it was overstuffed because it was like I think all of them because usually when it's like overstuffed, it's characters that don't do anything or feel pointless or all that. Here, I think all of the characters serve a point. Maybe some get shortchanged here and there. The only one I would say
Agreed. Yeah.
like they could have probably cut out is probably Ultraman. Like, because the thing is, like, Lex Luthor had not one but two like experiments gone bad. Um, and I get what they were doing with Ultraman. I can't really say it, but like I get why they did that. And I get why they had him in here, but like at
It
the
just
same
felt like that was
time,
one additional thing that could have been its own big thing. Then it just ended up being, oh, by the way, like it became an oh by the way to me, and an oh by the way that really didn't matter when we actually addressed it in the movie. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Like it's yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
I don't think the
yeah.
Batman should have been because it's just the Dark Knight, but not as good. Like that's essentially that. It's just the Nolan movies, but not nearly as good.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it is. It is on pace to make a really, really good number. Now, the Thursday number, I believe, still includes the early screening numbers. So, some of that number, the 22 to 24 million, does include the previews from earlier in the week with the early screenings. Yeah, Booster Gold is on the way. We just don't know when exactly. So, Reeves Batman, I think, will have a really hard time connecting to this level of, fantasy and sci-fi. So I do think that if we were to get a new cinematic universe that was focused around Reeves Batman, it would have been a very different Superman too. You would have had to kind of go back to a little more of what Henry Cavill Superman was like. Maybe not in exactly that, but like certainly more grounded than what we got in this movie. Because yeah, David Cornsweet plays a fantastic Superman, but it's a very much high fantasy sci-fi Superman, not like and much more irreverent and closer to the comic books and less so grounded and I mean it's grounded in its own reality, but just not the reality we live in. Like the kind of thing that the Dark Knight tried to do, that the Batman almost tries to do. But yeah, the pacing of the movie I think has been a consistent concern for a lot of people who have, even some people who love the movie, still said the movie drags in parts, especially the second act. Yeah. Paul Dano was great but his costume was so bad it made his roles worse. Couldn't understand anything he was saying. The sound mix for the Batman was still better than the Dark Knight Rises, I feel like, because a lot of people couldn't really hear much of anything at all what Bane was saying in the theatrical version. So I guess on that on that front things were a little bit better. But yeah, I found the article for the spinoffs for the Superman spinoffs. Let me see if I can bring that in a second. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I understand, but I mean, we'll talk about the Batman another day in more detail. The Watcher disagrees with you though, Caleb, saying I'm so tired of realism. DC wasn't ever really set in realism in the comics. That's why I prefer Gunn's version better, because it's comics accurate. So yeah, I mean, two very different visions of the whole thing. So, and ultimately that's why they're keeping them separate, so we don't have to worry about picking one or the other. We can definitely just go with both, and that's what they're doing. So I'm happy to see that. I'm trying to find the Thursday numbers, but John, if you want to bring up on screen, we do have the Jimmy Olsen and Mr. Terrific spinoff link. Let's see if I can bring that in. There it is. So, according to Gizmodo here, DC is considering spin-off shows for Superman supporting characters, including Eddie Gategi's Mr. Terrific and Skylar Gizondo's Jimmy Olsen, who could potentially both get their own TV shows. John, we were speculating about this before the movie even came out, that these guys could potentially be the standouts from the movie. And they were. I mean, they were a big part of the film, and quite frankly, I think if there were any two characters from the movie that could potentially do their own TV shows and like be the leads of their own, let's say, HBO show, these wouldn't be bad picks. This is what they're saying in the article. Superman has barely taken off in theaters, but two of its supporting characters already could be moving ahead. A new report from the Wall Street Journal, like you were mentioning in the chat there, says that DC Studios president and Superman writer-director James Gunn is considering spin-offs centering on Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gattegi, as well as Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo. IO9 has reached out to Warner Brothers for comment or clarification, and we'll update the story if or when we hear back. Of course, it makes sense. Like we were saying earlier, they were standout characters. John, would you like to see spin-offs with either of these characters?
Absolutely. Like, give me more. I said before, give me more Jimmy Olsen. I want to see more Jimmy Olsen, and I thought he was terrific. And speaking of terrific, I think Mr. Terrific was also really good. I don't know if he was. I didn't love him. I didn't love him as much as everyone else did, but I thought he did a really good job. And I will again. But the thing is, we're already getting a Lantern show, and so I can't really say Guy Gardner for a spinoff because he's gonna appear in the Lantern show. So yeah.
Yeah, and these would be like the Watcher is saying, they would be solo spin-off shows for both characters, so not necessarily a team up. Although I'm sure they can cross over into in each other's shows. Angelica is also in the chat. Angelica saying her friends at work didn't get to see Superman because all the theaters were sold out, so maybe they'll just watch it on Monday. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, that's obviously a good thing. That well, not for you, Angelica, and your friends, but obviously for the movie itself, that means that a lot of people are going to go see it, and they are seeing more. There's an expectation that there'll be more and more walk-ups, aka people just going to a movie theater on the day and getting tickets, not buying tickets through pre-sales and booking ahead. So in addition to the pre-sales numbers that we were looking at, there will hopefully be a lot of people just coming to the movie theater because of the positive word of mouth. Justice Gang should be given a TV series, saying Angelica. I feel like based on how they positioned Mr. Terrific in this movie, firmly part of the Justice Gang. If he were to get his own TV show, that probably would end up being sort of a Justice Gang light TV show anyway. And because I don't know what their plans are for that team, but I have a feeling if they were to give him his own show, Eddie Gattegi, then yeah, you'll probably see Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl and whoever else joins the team in the future in there as well. Caleb saying, this is exactly what I wanted. Hello, Caleb in the chat. I think are you referring to the spinoffs or are you referring to the movie itself? Did you get to see it? Let us know what you thought about it if you already saw the movie. We'd love to hear from you. We're going over everybody's reactions right now. Movie Spud, for example, saying that I thought the early interview scene at Lois's apartment was great. David and Rachel nailed it. I think that's still... they talked about the fact that James Gunn mentioned this. It was one of the first things they shot in the movie, and it was one of their favorite things they shot in the movie. And for us too, I think John, you and I both agreed that that's one of the standout sequences in the film.
That is definitely one of the best scenes in the movie, and I like how they really pumped that up because that was really one of the best parts of the movie, most easily.
Yeah, and then they shot that all on day 1 or day 2 of the film. So like I'm kind of glad that it worked out. That it was obviously really important, and they spent a whole day doing it. But usually for a scene that important, they might spend multiple days. And it seems like they were able to figure out their way through that sequence pretty quickly. And like the chemistry, obviously, you test that out, through that sequence, and get to see if David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan can actually pull their weight in these roles, especially in that sequence, because I feel like outside of that sequence in the movie, the two characters interact in far more brief moments. That was probably like the longest we saw them interact throughout the movie, outside of the stuff that happens at the Daily Planet, but even then, I don't think we saw a ton of them there. And to that point, by the time we get to this sequence in the movie, it almost feels like that they haven't seen each other for like days at a time. So it was really important that they were able to get more of that interaction early on in the film. But let's keep going here. We got more reactions from you guys in the chat. Monumental Comics saying, when James gets everyone to the Legion of Doom versus the Justice League, I want to see the faces then. That would be nice. I mean, the Legion of Doom was teased in the DCEU as well. We never got that far, but maybe we'll get it here. So PLO saying, I'm gonna see the movie tomorrow. I'm gonna love this movie so badly. Look, I think we all went to the movie theater. Most of us will go to the movies wanting to love the movie, because if you're making a choice, you're choosing to spend your time and going to a movie theater, spending money on concessions and in general, but obviously the movie ticket itself, driving there, parking, stuff like that. So we all want to love the movie, which is why when we walk out of a movie and feeling disappointed is genuinely because we were like, oh man, I really wanted to love it. So we hope that you get to enjoy it and you love the movie. I mean, and if you don't, then that's fine too. We will talk about it, and you can come back to the show tomorrow when we are doing a full spoiler discussion at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know if you'll be done with the movie by then, PLO, but definitely stop by when you can. Frankie G saying, did Gunn cut Sean Gunn, his brother, out of the movie? I saw him briefly in a TV interview. Well, so Sean Gunn is in the movie. How much of him is in the movie, we won't talk about till tomorrow. But Enterprising mentioning that, he's in the movie, and according to Enterprising, not much. Again, we won't go into the specifics. Happy 3D Model, hello, how are you doing today? Saying, I saw Superman, I love it. I think Holtz is the best Lex. In the movie, he was a standout. I love David as Superman. Yeah, I agree with you with you there. I think we were talking about it. I especially think this Lex Luthor is probably the most diabolical version of the character we've ever seen. So we're on the same page there. Happy 3D Model. Steven is here. Hello. Hi, Dan and John. Hello, Steven. John, you want to say hi to Steven? And let's see, what else do we have? Enterprise. Okay, Enterprise. All right. So we got Caleb saying, is the engineer working for Lex or the government, and do they reveal anything about her beyond being a goon? Okay. The first half of that one, it's a mix. I don't know. We won't go into a ton of details there because I think it's a lot of spoilery chat if I give you the answer to the first half of that question. As far as revealing much beyond her being a goon, no, they do not, which I thought was something that was a bit lacking. I felt like the engineer was one of those characters that got a bit shortchanged. So, and you might feel different once you see the movie. Nicholas Hoult is Lex, best Lex since Michael Rosenbaum, who was on the red carpet in LA with everybody else. So we got to see actually Nicholas Hoult and Michael Rosenbaum together on the red carpet, which we were talking about on yesterday's show. Enterprising saying the same, wanted to see more from the engineer. Also, those cameos gave me the biggest laugh of the entire. I know exactly what you're talking about, Caleb. John, I think everybody, got a laugh. I remember my theater laughed out loud when some of those cameos happened. So yeah, definitely love that. And those cameos were perfect. They were perfectly placed, perfectly timed, the right kind. And this movie, like James Gunn has done throughout his Guardians films, he knows how to bring you a moment of levity when things start to get really heavy. And that's something that people love about Marvel movies, and that sensibility obviously is something that James Gunn is bringing over with him. And I think I appreciate it because they provided a good amount of balance. This movie didn't at all feel like to me there were like too many jokes at any point in time. I don't know, John, do you agree? Did this movie feel too jokey like Love and Thunder, or was it balanced out well?
No, I think it was more balanced than people give it more credit to, because I think it does have some jokes, but I don't think it's like too much or anything like that, or like more typical James Gunn stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Well, we're gonna keep going here because we have a ton more to get into, but keep giving us your reactions in the chat to the movie. If you have seen it, let us know what you thought about it. Tell us your rating. We're staying spoiler free today. No spoilers today, please, as it says in the ticker down there. We will get into the full spoiler chat tomorrow on the show. But John, let's move on to the next thing here. We'll keep marking up your reactions in the chat and bring those in. Speaking of reactions, John, this person right here on camera, he's actually from the Ohio Film Commission, and him amongst many other people from Ohio in Cleveland got to see the movie. And of course, a lot of Cleveland is shown in the movie because a lot of those fight sequences, they literally shot in Cleveland, and some stuff in Cincinnati, but you see a lot of the exterior sequences from last summer when we were talking. If you go back to our shows from last summer, we were looking at all the set photos and breaking everything down. They filmed the majority of this movie's exteriors, especially like Cleveland Guardian Stadium. That's the stand-in for the Metropolis Meteors baseball team. So the fans in Cleveland finally getting to see the movie, and then obviously they're like, I know exactly where that place is. I've been there. I know. And so lighting up like that's our town. And obviously Superman was born in Cleveland. That's where Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster created the character. So exciting to see the reactions. And when you listen to the audio here from Batman Online fans, pretty much everybody was really positive about it, not just because it was shot in Cleveland, but they seemed to really enjoy the film. John, did you get a chance to check this out? I mean, this was again really
I caught a
good to
little
see
bit
the
of it.
fans.
It was
Yeah,
very, very nice to see, very cute, um, very lovely. So yeah, I really enjoyed that people liked that
yeah,
and adding to the dimension of in their
absolutely.
hometown too.
Yeah, and I mean Frankie G, by the way, mentioning that the jokes were balanced out. Even though Frankie overall had a negative reaction to the movie, he still thought the jokes were balanced out, not one of the issues. Silver Age Lex, I think that's definitely agreeable. We'd say the same. Happy 3D model saying Nick Holt doesn't need to be the main villain, the sequel, but they do need to bring him back. Yeah, there's certainly room for that. And I'm probably thinking that's where they're gonna go. It's sort of that Lex Luthor is to Superman the same way Joker is to Batman. That's kind of where it's at. Enterprising, on the other hand, did not enjoy uh, the jokes all that much. They weren't particularly funny. Solid chuckles mostly. I will agree with you. I think a lot of the humor from the Superman robots didn't land with me. Outside of this one moment that happens in the third act of the movie, where I was like, okay, that one was genuinely funny. Because I don't know if it was the delivery or the lines, or and even like one of those lines is the one where they're like, we feed the canine, but we for the life, and then the rest of that line about he knows we are not human or whatever. That whole thing didn't work for me as well, and I'm like, it's they were going for that K2SO dry humor from Andor and from like Rogue One, and I just feel like for me it only landed once. So I kind of agree with you enterprising there, but the rest of it, it's not like this movie. This movie doesn't have a lot of jokes in it anyway, so it's
Yeah.
not meant to be like a funny film. It's a very lighthearted movie, but there's also a lot of dark moments in the film, and there are some jokes, but it's definitely not meant to be a comedy by any means.
hmm
The Watcher saying my grandparents seen it today and text me and said they adored it. My grandma said I sure loved all the smooching. Yes, there was a little bit of that. Although even then, I think some of the folks that we have seen, Bridget yesterday was mentioning that she didn't quite buy the chemistry between Lois and Clark as much as maybe a lot of people are talking about. But then again, that's the spectrum of reactions that we have, which is goes to show you not every movie is going to hit everyone the same way, and that's how art works. Art is very subjective, so
hmm
we are here to discuss all the reactions and hold them in equal regard. Steven saying Dan and John, Chris Gore and Jeffrey Johns didn't like Superman, but it's their opinion. Yeah, look, you'll see that. Look, for me, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I feel like my review on Monday felt more negative than anything else, but I still thought overall it was a good film, and there's going to be people out there who won't like it as much. I mean, Frankie was surprised that he didn't like it as much as he thought he would too. So that it's fine. But I mean, the Watcher loved it, seen it 3 times already. So, yeah, dude, yes, that pocket dimension stuff was surprisingly dark. Not just because it was very dark in that pocket dimension, but
hmm
thematically too. Yes. I will say this: Lex is sinister, a monster who creates monsters. Very much true. There's actually some stuff specifically that we speculated
Exactly.
about that I have questions about where we're talking about that tomorrow. And yes, the horror sensibilities do slip into the movie, which I know for some people might be an issue because they're not fans of horror, and especially body horror, which we do get more of that in this Superman movie than any Superman movie before. And that's because of James Gunn's background with that. So, and I know that was a problem for like Fiona, for example, but then some people will love it. So who knows? James Gunn did an interview saying that the grandchildren of Superman's creators got to read the script, and Gunn made it. Before Gunn made the movie, and they cried and said, "We have been waiting for this movie for years," which is exactly true. We went over that a few days ago. James Gunn mentioned that was one of the coolest moments for him when he shows. I think it was the Schuster family, grandkids, and they really loved
Maybe,
it.
yeah.
Or it was either Siegel or Schuster. I think it was one of the. Well, it was the family that wasn't suing Warner Brothers, so it was one of the two. But yeah, no, he brought him to tears as well. He mentioned, so that's great to see and hear from James Gunn. Mr. Terrific was very, very cool in this movie. I think that his cool demeanor, he had a certain like coolness to him, which I think I really appreciated. And there were moments of levity with Mr. Terrific as well. And then when he shows up in this sequence that you see here on screen, that was pretty funny because he's got a bit of ego to him as well, which for a guy of his capabilities, you'd imagine he's going to have a bit of an ego, and
He is.
it's funny.
He is in the Lantern series. Nathan Fillion just confirmed it again, where he's like, I think I have said more F-bombs in that show than in my entire career. So get pumped for that.
Yep. I'm still willing to bet that his character dies in that series, but who knows? Who knows? Chris Gorse at PLO saying recommended the movie. I don't need no help. Yes, yeah. Yep. That seems to be a theme.
Well, of course Chris Stuckman liked it. He doesn't fucking hate movies now, so you know.
I mean, look, again, the reviews have varied. Overall, still the majority of the people love it, which is why the scores are so high. So again, we're not trying to be negative. It's just, some people didn't like it as much as others. Some people love the hell out of it. I feel like I'm going to like it more on the second watch. So I'm willing to just wait and see if my opinions change a bit once I see it a few more times. Yes, yeah, absolutely, Watcher. We were talking about that before a few days ago when we brought that clip in. Mr. Cool had a cool, no nonsense demeanor. Yep, no nonsense for Mr. Terrific, which was perfect. I think it was a lot of what we were expecting. Peak Tom King, here we go. Yeah, Lanterns. I guess this is why John is still a little bit. He's a little on the edge about Lanterns still, because Tom King is involved, and I know, John, you're gonna rant tomorrow on a few things that you feel like Tom King might have influenced, especially regarding the twist in this movie that we were referring to earlier. So, all right, well. I think we went over this video before, but I figured since we're talking fan reactions, first of all, great cosplay by that guy there. But this is from Australia, I believe. Australia or this is Australia. So Australian fans being interviewed outside of the theater, and they seem to all love it. They all went to an early screening. I listened to the audio on this earlier, and they generally had a pretty good reaction to it. So again, more fans getting to see it, and generally speaking, most people are loving the movie, or at least even if you're a casual fan, they seem to enjoy it. But then again, it's not going to hit for everybody. So you will get the occasional person who does not like it as much. Was he? I don't know. That looked like him.
Looked like him. I'm just. I was making a joke. I'm like,
no. I caught a glimpse of that. Yep. Did John's dad like Superman? Saying Steven. Isn't he going to see it with you tomorrow?
Yeah, seeing it. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm going with both my parents. I'm forcing them to wear Superman shirts.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I paid for the tickets. You're wearing Superman shirts. They're like, okay.
Wait, so do they have Superman shirts, or did you
get
them?
I have 4 of them, so they're wearing
okay. Nice. Well, Casey's got some news for you, John. His town has a lot with Tom King's name on it. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was like a lot of people honored terrible people. I mean, Hitler was a Man of the Year or whatever for Time magazine. So I mean,
you just put him in the same sentence as Hitler there. That's great. That is great. Thank you, John. And on that bombshell, let's move on to the next thing here. We got more reactions to talk about, more reviews. Vanity Fair review was pretty positive, saying Superman knows exactly what a Superman movie should be. James Gunn's Superman is elastic and limber, and most importantly, fun. The director's fresh take on an old character gets it mostly right. So again, not a perfect review. Being comic booky is the point, writes Vanity Fair chief critic Ari Loss. I forget what that stands for. I don't remember their full name, but they were saying embracing Superman's original context is, it turns out, the best way to do him justice. I don't know if they're talking about any of the spoiler stuff that we were referring to earlier, but nonetheless. John in the chat saying 130 million for one day or the whole weekend. No, if it did 130 million in the one day, it would probably have a bigger opening weekend than even Avengers Endgame. No, we were talking about the whole weekend. We haven't gone that far yet. We will discuss that in more detail, John. So if you want to stick around in the chat, we will get to that soon. But yes, 130 is in reference to the whole opening weekend. So, Friday through Thursday through Sunday is what we were referring to. Monique saying, my last name is on every other tree in my hometown. No big deal. That is actually pretty cool. That is pretty cool. They both did terrible things. That's great. Thank you, Caleb. The costume also grew on me, saying Frankie G. I thought it looked good in the film. Yeah. I do think that the costume is less bothersome to me now that I've seen the movie. I'm like, I think that it fits the vibe, the vibe of the whole movie, this universe.
I think so. I still don't like the lines. I still hate
Yeah,
the
it's a
lines,
little, but then again, we might get an updated costume because James Gunn did say that the costume will go through changes in future movies. So
changes.
you're in your
Changes.
you're doing the auto-tune thing again, by the way. Yes, we did talk about the. Actually, no, we didn't get into that article in particular. Let me see if I can find that article, Stephen, from the Wall Street Journal. We did talk about the potential spin-offs with Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen, but I think there's more in that article, so I'll see if I can find that for you guys. Happy 3D Model saying this movie reminds me of the DC animated universe. You're not the first to say that, right, John? I think you mentioned the same thing, that this really feels like it's straight out of the pages of a DC animated movie, or even certainly the shows Justice League Unlimited as well. Yeah, I think it looks better in motion, but I hate the light. Stash agrees with you, John. There you go.
Yeah,
Stash agrees with you. I'm gonna see if I can send you this link, John. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can open it up here. There we go. So if you want to switch to my screen and we can go through the rest of this article, there's a couple of things in there. Okay, so saving a studio. This looks like a job for Superman. It's a $225 million budget. That is pretty much where we are at with this. And of course, DC's finally trying to match the success that Marvel has had. Superman literally lifting the entire company on his back with crypto on top as well. We will get into this article in a little more detail, but yes, Warner Brothers does seem to want this movie to gross at least $500 million worldwide or more, which would still be, a lot less than, some of us predicting $1 billion, but it would be a hit for them because certainly they've already won the battle with the critics and audience reviews. Now they want to see if they can actually make money with this movie. I still think if the movie doesn't, break into the black as with making a profit, they will be okay with it as long as it leads to, more people wanting to go see Supergirl next year, Clayface. The overall franchise needs to get off to a really good start, which they're pointing out here as well. Maybe if Superman does scream chicken jockey, I bet that will bring a lot more fans back to the theaters that are missing their Minecraft movie. I hope that's sarcasm. Oh, this comment? Yes. That's I think it's meant to be sarcasm. This movie will destroy Jurassic Work. I don't know if you meant that to be on purpose or not.
It's work to the movie. Maybe he did.
The movie did work. I saw a reel today about somebody just like mentioning a lot of the inconsistencies in the movie, and I was laughing so hard. Like, Liz sent that over to us.
Was it the Mateo Lane video with him and Nick reviewing the movie? Because I saw that and I was rolling. That was so fucking funny.
Yep. No, absolutely. I will say though, as far as this Washington Journal article, I was skimming through it earlier, and I know just reading what they're talking about. They're not like hating on Superman or DC Studios. What they are saying is pretty accurate to, like, from the business perspective, and you would expect that from Wall Street Journal, because they're all about the finances. Like, yes, a lot of Warner Brothers Discovery's future depends on the success of this movie. Like, they really need this movie to do well, and not necessarily financially, although I'm sure they will appreciate like getting like $500 million, but it needs to do well enough, because if it doesn't launch the new DCU on a positive note, then Warner Brothers might be in a bit of trouble. Nothing. Yeah, all of it was for nothing. Caleb thinks Tom King is better than William Shakespeare. Again, probably more sarcasm there. This movie could make $10 billion. Nothing will save Wanker Bros. Well, Warner Brothers is splitting into half and getting rid of all their networks side of things, so that it will just be the streaming and studios together. That's where Superman and DC will live. And they do talk about that in this article as well. But let's get back to talking about the reviews and the fan reactions and the critics' reactions, John, because we did see a new clip from Warner Brothers, from DC Studios, I should say, talking about the reviews that are out. Of course, this was saying tomorrow, as in Friday. Unlike anything we have seen, thrilling, electric, massive, uplifting, fun. We did a whole thumbnail about like that yesterday's show. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It was 2 days ago.
It all blends together.
It was. I think it was 2 days ago. A new era has arrived. Yeah, definitely a lot of very positive reviews, as we've been talking about. Yeah, I mean, look, it is a great start, Happy 3D model. Like, despite the fact that some people didn't jive with it as well. And again, those people are in the minority because when you look at the overall reactions, like, certified fresh, the popcorn meter is certified, it's verified good or whatever the term is that they use. So yeah, exactly. Warner Brothers did say DC Studios co-chief James Gunn himself, the director of the movie, said it's more important that people like the movie than for this movie to be, like a $1 billion film. Like, it doesn't even need to make 700 million. It probably doesn't even need to make 500. Although I think if it makes 500 million at least, then they will be able to recoup some of that money that they've invested in not just making the movie, but also marketing the movie. And yeah, they're in it for the long haul, like the Watcher is saying. They want to build out a franchise. It's off to a good start. The first Iron Man movie, for example, didn't even make 600 million. But then by the time we got to the third movie, they were making $1 billion with each movie. Was the Avengers made $1 billion, Iron Man 3 made $1 billion, Avengers Age of Ultron made over $1 billion. Then you got two Avengers movies that both made over $2 billion. So yeah, a good foundation is the goal here. Steven asking John, what theater did you see it in, and did you eat popcorn? Good question.
I didn't get popcorn, but what do you mean theater? Do you mean like the chain, or do you mean like the type of theater? Like, I saw it at an AMC.
Like, both. Let's do both.
And I saw it at an AMC, and I saw it in Dolby, and I didn't get popcorn. What did I get? I think I got waffle fries. Yeah. Good stuff. I rarely eat popcorn at a movie nowadays. Like, it's not bad. It's just like I prefer the more, I like the hot food. You're muted.
Sorry, I ate before going to the movie theater, so we only got popcorn because we got the popcorn. I'm gonna see if I can bring that in. Actually, I have my popcorn container over there. Movie View saying, "I'm afraid this movie will alienate the comic book fans." Do you mean the movie will alienate the comic book fans? Because I feel like a lot of people's reactions are that this is a very comic book fan friendly movie, right? Like, I don't know. Like, let us know, Movie View, what you mean by that. Give us more context, just so that we're not misquoting you. My theory is Mr. Terrific will be about him building to the Terrifics, and Jimmy will be a Daily Planet type show. Day in the life with Jimmy Olsen. I'm sure that'll be fun. And the Justice Gang will eventually evolve into the JLI. Yeah, the Watcher talking about potential spinoffs, which the Washington Journal report was talking about. Emphasis being on the building towards the Justice League, so he will take his time. But yeah, John, speaking of that critic spot, of course, the Rotten Tomatoes score holding strong, even though we did get a few more. We get a few more negative reviews today. So I know at one point it dropped to 82%. Now it's back up to 83%. It's holding pretty close to. It's right between your number, which was 81%, and mine was 85%. So we'll actually on Monday. I know all of you guys gave us your Rotten Tomatoes score predictions leading up to Superman coming out, and on Monday we'll go through them and we'll talk about and see who was the closest, who was off the mark. So John has that list, and we'll talk about that. Frankie G saying the AMC where I went, so it sold out all the cups and buckets. Yeah, dude. I mean, John, you didn't even get a chance to get yours on Tuesday because they told you that it wasn't ready yet. I know Liz got hers. But yeah,
it's funny because it's like, to be fair, I went to an early screening, so I'm like, I was just like, oh, it's probably a dumb question. Are these available? And then they're like, oh, they're not going to be available till next Wednesday. People are seeing, like, the biggest thing is the opening weekend. People want the popcorn buckets at opening weekend. Why are you fucking waiting until Wednesday? Because of the shipment? I understand if like there's a shipment issue, but like this is like the biggest movie of the fucking year. Try to like work on your shipment issues, man. Like, what? That makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah, I was surprised because like Liz got hers at an AMC, I got mine at a Regal, so I'm surprised that your theater didn't have their stuff together. Although I also had to sit through 5 minutes of Jurassic World and then an hour and a half delay to have my Superman screening actually work. Yeah, so Angelica, your good question. Actually, they already have been in China. They are in China right now. As far as I can tell, they sent David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan to New York, and then James Gunn and Peter Safran went to China. So they were in LA for the world premiere earlier this week, and then they sort of like took flights in two different directions. Like Rachel Brosnahan, David Cornsweet came to New York, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. And then later in the show, we're going to talk about James Gunn and Peter Safran being in Beijing. So yes, definitely. I think it was July 10th, actually. So right now it's 12:20 a.m. when we're doing the show live on the East Coast. It's already Friday here, very beginning of Friday. So July 10th, aka on Thursday, they were meant to be in Beijing. And as you can imagine, Beijing's like 10, 14 hours ahead of us. So yes, they're already in Beijing, and I bet you they'll be back in the US by the weekend. But yeah, we'll get into a little bit of that.
It has this thing called flavacol. That's
Right.
that's what makes the movie popcorn truly
Tastes-
movie popcorn.
Yeah, different than what you get at home. Although you can get that for yourself at home too if you want.
Yeah, flavacol. Although watch out, like the soda, like a tablespoon is like what you put in the popcorn is like a week's worth of sodium. So like, just be careful.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be having that every day. So, but like average bag of popcorn that you can put into a microwave still tastes pretty good when it's hot. So, yeah, we will hopefully get to see Batman punch Guy Gardner before Guy Gardner bites the dust in this new universe. Maybe. Movie View saying, clarifying with their statement from earlier, I think the general audiences love it, but the movie has problems that the general audience won't recognize, and it worries me. I will say that, though, I think between Bridget and Fiona, like, they were having a hard time articulating some of the problems they had with the movie, which is fair. I think that happens not just with Superman, though, because if you're not used to watching movies every week and talking about them, it's hard sometimes for people to be like, I don't know, something about it was off. And you're like, was it the pacing? Do you feel like, because like you can, if somebody that here's an easy way. If you know somebody that you go to the movie theaters with, or someone like a friend or a coworker you talk to about Superman or any movie, and if they're like, I don't know, I didn't like it, and you're like, why? And they're like, I don't know if I can't put a finger on it. Some of the questions you can always ask them. Did you find yourself like bored at times? Like, were you looking around, looking at your watch and your phone? If they were doing that means that most likely the movie's pacing wasn't good, and there could be other issues. So you can always ask them follow-up questions to kind of like specific things, because sometimes people who are not watching movies all the time, they do have a harder time kind of specifying what is it about the movie that that they liked or did not like. And you can always ask them questions like that to get a better answer. Kyle is in the chat. He's usually not watching live, but hello Kyle, watching live today, saying he's seeing it today. Got 7 tickets, can't wait, all fans in a row. Wow, okay, so you got 7 tickets. You guys are gonna fill up pretty much like half a row or more depending on the size of your theater. That's great. Concessions are getting pretty expensive, so yeah, that is the other thing about movie going, which is why I think AMC offering that 50% discount on Tuesdays and Wednesdays is a good deal, because at least that will save you some money. Although those are the days the least amount of people go to see a movie, so that's the reason why they're doing that. But yeah, we'll have to just wait and see how that works out. But yeah, John, what about Movie Spud's comment here? Why don't you take over for a second?
I know we're talking about the Superman popcorn, but honestly, I want so many of those popcorn buckets. I'm just saying, like, I want them badly. I think the Fantastic Car is at Regal, and then I want the Galactus one, and I want the Herbie one. So I'll just be like, yo, this thing is gonna cost me like $500, but I don't care. So I'm gonna fucking get them, and really gonna get both of those. But
yeah. Movie View saying I can articulate for sure. LOL. I don't know if this is a spoiler. Yes, we're not getting into spoilers today, and I'm not saying I wasn't saying Movie View that you can't articulate what you're trying to say. I'm saying more so like we had, for example, 2 people on the show throughout the week who wouldn't count themselves as like big movie fans. Like they don't go to see movies all the time like John and I and Liz do. So it's just, I was saying in general, if you know somebody who's just goes to the movies every once in a while and they're having a hard time telling you like why they didn't like the movie, then you can always ask them some questions and be like, do you think it was like you were bored, like what, and things like that. And you can get a better idea, and sometimes that's really informative, because that's exactly what will tell the filmmakers what they got right, what they got wrong. But yeah, so Monumental Comics and also Movie View, you guys are asking about if you're doing spoiler chat. Kyle as well. So here's what we're doing. So tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time, again, kind of to specify, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time, again, 9 p.m. Eastern time, US East Coast time, we're going to do the live full spoiler chat. So we're going to start at 9. We're probably going to go for a couple of hours. So you guys are welcome to join in live. If you can't join us live, then you're welcome to obviously come in and watch the show afterwards. Leave your comments down below. We'll bring those in for Monday. Fridays are always a Q&A session day as well. So we'll bring your, biggest questions into the show towards the end of the show and answer them. So it will be basically a full spoiler discussion on Friday, aka tomorrow, aka later today, depending on when you're watching us, but 9 p.m. Eastern. So yes, there are no spoilers on the show right now, on this show. But the next one, 9 p.m. Eastern Friday, we are doing it. So definitely come back in for that one. Steven saying, I think Superman will make money besides people who didn't like it. Families and kids will watch Superman. I think so. I think so. I mean, whoever here who hasn't seen the film yet, watcher saying, I hope you have a blast and enjoy it. It's a treat. We've been waiting for this movie for years, literally years, John. This is also the first solo Superman adventure in 12 years. So yeah, have fun with it. Go see it multiple times if you feel like, you want to go do that, obviously. I'm going to try to see it a second time this weekend. John is seeing it a second time tomorrow. Liz is seeing it again soon as well. So I know a lot of us are doing repeat viewings. Watcher has already seen it 3 times. So yeah. Monique saying, cool, now I only want to go Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I hate crowds. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it's going to be 50% off at AMC, so save yourself some money. Movie Spot only has Regal in their town, but they're getting a B&B theater next month. Okay. Yeah, more choices are always good. Yeah, and you can get your collectibles wherever they have them. Each movie theater brand has their own different version of it. So, but yeah, we have been seeing like the amount of the diversity in the audiences is pretty, good. You want to see a summer movie do well with like audiences of all ages, and I think I've seen kids from being like toddlers, some parents bringing them with them, all the way to literally like grandparents, and everybody in between seeing this movie. So Kyle saying, you guys, DC is back. We're in the comeback. I'm proud of us for staying strong. Yeah, dude, it just goes up from here. Like, we're going to have Comic-Con in less than 2 weeks' time. So we'll be talking about that and everything they announced there. Peacemaker is weeks away. And then Supergirl comes out next year. Lanterns is almost done filming. We're going to start they're going to start production on Clayface soon. So we'll talk about that. The Batman 2 script is finally done. And apparently James Gunn has read it, or at least read most of it, and said that it's great. So the Batman Brave and the Bold also in the works right now. So yeah, we'll keep our eye out. We'll be here 5 days a week moving forward. So it's going to be a packed DCU, the new cinematic universe, as well as Matt Reeves, the Batman epic crime saga. So the laser beam scene from the trailer was awesome, I have to admit. Yeah, Frankie, that's part of like some of the high points for a lot of people talking about the movie. I know John and I have talked about off screen. That was one of our favorite parts of the movie. We can't tell you where that happens in the movie because that would be a spoiler, but we did love when that scene comes up. I don't know if they're gonna do a Lex spinoff though. Happy 3D model. They gave him a lot of screen time in this movie. Maybe he's part of the sequel, like we were talking about earlier. But I don't know if they're gonna give him a spinoff just yet. I wouldn't mind seeing a Lex TV show. I mean, but maybe Nicholas Hoult is too big of a star right now to sign up for an HBO Max show. But we'll have to just wait and see if, depending on how the reception is after this opening weekend, maybe they will want to go in that direction. Wonder Woman, they're also working on a script for that, so that's definitely true, Watcher. Movie Spud can definitely use a new movie theater in town. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think new movie theaters in any town, like my movie theater that is in my town, I don't go to the one in my town, but it's been renovated a few years ago before the pandemic, and I can tell you that thing was a POS before they did that. So I'm so happy that they did the update. Martian Manhunter, dude. Okay, yes. I've been calling for Martian Manhunter, like give him something very soon. And we'll talk more, about like what other spinoffs they want to do once we get into spoiler chat tomorrow. But Martian Manhunter, I've been calling for it for years, Sean. Calling for it for years. We need to do give him the John Carter, treatment, except make a movie that actually, people go to watch, not like John Carter. But I would love to see like a big epic sci-fi with Martian Manhunter and all of his supporting characters. So okay, all right, let's keep going here. Yes, there are some other Easter eggs in the movie. Again, we'll talk more about them tomorrow. You guys are welcome to send in your comments then. But let's dive into the next thing, John. So we talked about the audience reactions. Yes, there were some more negative reviews recently. Now there's like 250 reviews out there in total. So These photos, by the way, are actually from an article that we're gonna go into a little bit later, which is, what was it, the Hollywood Authentic. They did a photo shoot with the actors on set when they were filming the movie. But I just wanted to kind of quickly go over the points they make here in the comments, John, or in the description. I mean, Superman is certified fresh with critics. The audience score in Rotten Tomatoes is verified hot, or whatever they call it, the popcorn meters in the 90s. The movie is tracking for over $200 million at the opening weekend at the worldwide box office, which would be fantastic. That's exactly what they were hoping for. They're expecting this to be the biggest solo opening weekend for Superman, because if it goes anywhere over 116 million, that's the record that Man of Steel had. It did earn $20 million at the domestic pre-sales, which surpassed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was a previous high for James Gunn. Makes sense. This is also, I mean, Superman is Superman. Superman is way more well known than the Guardians of the Galaxy ever were or probably ever will be. On pace to deliver the biggest opening weekend of James Gunn's career, because his previous high, I think the Guardians was like over 100 million, but nowhere close. I mean, if this hits the tracking, which is coming in closer to 130 million, it would be the high mark of his career. James Gunn has called it the most comic book movie I have ever made, which I think a lot of you guys are agreeing. It feels like it's straight ripped out of the pages of the comics. And if you keep scrolling there, John, James Gunn did say that this movie does not need to make $700 million. Peter Safran, the other co-CEO of DC Studios, saying it's the greatest superhero filmmaker of our generation,
He's
praising
definitely
James
the most
Gunn.
praised, I
So,
feel like.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the greatest. I think you still have Christopher Nolan out there, who made probably the best superhero movie trilogy ever. And then also, like, there's plenty of other options. Sam Raimi, I think, is in the conversation there as well. Gunn's approaches balances Kryptonian
he's a
legacy.
horrible person.
Yeah.
But Bryan Singer, dude, made some amazing movies.
Yes.
James Mangold made some great movies. So, like, I think both of those guys are definitely up there. Hard agree on that.
Yeah. By the way, I think PLO, you just be mindful, PLO, of spoiler talk in the chat. We do not want to get into spoilers. Just letting you know, do not get into that just yet. We're talking about it tomorrow. And yes, the question will be, will this movie have a big drop off in its second weekend? I can't imagine, because it's going to only have to compete with the Smurfs, and I bet you will do a lot more than that. So yeah, you're right, Watcher. The box office today has not recovered from what it was before the pandemic. There was an article that I saw today, we'll bring it into the show next week, because there's so much Superman talk to be had, where they're talking about like roughly 20% of the audiences from before the pandemic still haven't returned to watching movies at the at the movie theater at the same rate that they used to. So that's a big chunk. And so yeah, anything over 400 would still be a really good number. So there you go. And Caleb, shut your dirty mouth. Like, seriously, man, just suck it, Caleb. Suck it. The Dark Knight trilogy is the best movie trilogy of all time. That's a preview of a future tier list episode. Just letting you know. I know what you did last summer, Eddington Smurfs. None of those movies will be able to beat Superman. I can guarantee you right now, Superman, I will take the bet, if anybody wants to go at it with me, that Superman will be number one next weekend as well. Okay, PL. Okay, fair enough, PLO. You haven't seen the movie. I hear you, but we did see behind the scenes photos addressing what you're talking about, though. So there you go. That's at least out there in the world. All right, John. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. We got more stuff to get into. The next one, of course, you remember they did this IMAX fan art competition, and they've been sharing it, some of the artwork that they received. Well, now it looks like they gave us the results of the fan art search, because all of these pieces are part of like this huge poster that you'll be able to see the collage at a movie theater near you, and that's pretty terrific. I'm gonna start saying terrific more than fantastic, because we'll be seeing a lot of fantastic in the coming weeks. George, hello, how are you doing? Happy morning to you, sir, across the pond. Kyle saying I'll see it next week as well. Keep those numbers high. Yeah, go support the movie. Keep watching it, because they're still promoting it. You see here Rachel Brosnahan surprising her BFF and her family on a new episode of a Celeb IOU on HGTV. More stuff with the Property Brothers. So again, Superman keeping up with the marketing. They're not stopping.
Guys. Like, I get it. They're like tall, dark, and handsome, but like, come on, like, there's other handsome dudes
Greek
out
Kyle,
there that
exactly.
do Renos. Like, come on now, Jesus.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let's keep going here. We got a lot more promotional stuff from Superman to talk about. And yeah, it will also be key, like if this movie does well in China, because we will talk about that later on as well, as we get more tracking information. But speaking of the world tour, John, like I said before, David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan, they got sent to New York City, so they were literally, a couple of hours from where we are right now. And they got to light up the Eiffel Tower. Not the Eiffel Tower. What am I saying?
Whoa, Empire State
The
Building.
Empire State Building.
This is
Sorry.
America. Get that
Sorry. Oh my God.
Frenchy
Okay.
bullshit
I
outta
hope they don't. I
here.
hope they
Oh my
don't come for me.
God.
Dang. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, the Empire State Building, and so they were in New York. There's a bunch of other stuff they did in New York as well, John. So let's keep going. We have a few more. Oh, dude. Yes. As far as marketing goes, as far as popcorn buckets go, that Cinemark popcorn bucket is my favorite one. And I do have a Cinemark membership, like a rewards membership. So I feel like I need to go see the movie at Cinemark just so I can get that popcorn bucket, because that is probably my favorite version of the popcorn bucket. So yeah. I love it. What do you think, John? What was your favorite popcorn bucket from this movie?
I'm still upset they didn't.
They're coming for me, John.
What?
They're coming for me in the chat. Like, get him.
Oh, yeah.
T-minus 6 hours for George going to see the movie. Awesome.
I still wanted the bulge. I will say this was so aggressive, David. Like, goddamn, calm down. Very detailed. He's just like, bro, calm down. Very cute.
Yep, love it. It is the cutest popcorn bucket, the crypto bucket. AMC also putting out some new promotions. Eyes Up, the movie's out, guys. It's certified fresh. I know, John, you are going to see it in an AMC tomorrow, right? So I'm probably going to go see it in AMC. I saw it in Regal earlier in the week, so my go-to theater is an AMC, so I'll go there and check it out. But yeah, I hate eating like Tom Cruise. David likes eating popcorn like Tom Cruise. He's tossing it at his face, yeah, and then doing the Tom Cruise laugh. I don't know, but you know what, John? This is the cutest thing I saw all day. They put together all the different crypto toys you can get your hands on, and I want all of them. I want every single one of these. Whether it's the one that flies, the one that lights up, the one that you can pet, or the one that just sits on your bed. I don't know, John. This is, oh God. I want it all. Like, forget Pokemon.
It all.
Forget Pokemon. I want all of these cryptos. That's what I want. Yes, George, we were actually talking about that earlier. There was a Wall Street Journal article as well saying the same thing, that Warner Brothers expect this movie to hopefully make at least $500 million. They will be happy with that. And that makes sense. That would be like just about the break-even point for this movie. So the Watcher seeing it in Dolby next. Yes, Baby Joey was fantastic in the movie too. And yeah, the Funko Pop, man, is very adorable for crypto. But speaking of the New York part of the world tour, the second last stop, like I mentioned, they were doing other stuff. So they did the car wash, as they say, which is where basically Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet went through all the morning shows in New York, including CBS Mornings. And then if you keep going here, John, I think we have another social media plug from CBS Mornings. Rachel Brosnahan stopping by for her coffee, and yeah, a long day promoting the movie. And then they just released this footage from the new Fortnite update with Superman's Fortress of Solitude in the movie now, so you can play with that if you're into Fortnite. Then there you go.
Sure.
I'm just saying. Happy 3D model gonna see this movie again next Thursday. That's awesome, man. Keep on keeping on. Monique saying my doggo got the whole body shaved down at the wet and now resembles Crypto and now his Shih Tzu self. There you go, man. That's amazing. Thank you, Monique, for sharing that. You're welcome to DM us a photo of your doggy. We will bring it on the show because we are lovers of dogs on this show. Between John's dog, we got Zelda, and you've seen multiple dogs on the show before. So yeah, the crypto toys are very, very cute. All right, let's keep going here, John. Is this the next thing? This is the next thing. The Mondo News putting this up. Mondo Music, in partnership with Water Tower Music, which is where the soundtrack for the movie exists, releasing the soundtrack on vinyl. John, are you a fan of music on vinyl? Do you collect those?
Yeah, I have a couple. I don't have a ton, but this is definitely cool. I probably wouldn't be able to get it because they're probably already going to be fucking sold out by the time.
Limited. Go to mondoshop.com.
It's definitely cool.
Yep. Yeah, I do want there to be more for Rachel Brosnahan to do as Lois in the sequel. I do feel like that's something that was one of my critiques. But yeah, the fate of Metropolis weighs heavy on Superman's shoulders, because now we're not just waiting for the movie, it's here. It's here now. Not even tomorrow, John. It's Friday already on the East Coast. So can't wait to see this again. I know you're going to see it in just a matter of hours. George is seeing it in a matter of hours. So let's keep going. We got more promotional stuff to get into, and James Gunn and Richard Brosnahan and David Cornsweet and Nicholas Hoult doing another Dairy Queen crossover. Is a hot dog a sandwich, John? That is the question. Apparently, it's debatable amongst this crew. What do you think? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich. I agree with David and Nicholas here.
They probably made hundreds of millions of dollars on merch already, George, but yes. I think a hot dog is a sandwich in the sense that you have two pieces of bread with meat in the middle, which
I think why can't a hot dog just be unique? You know?
I don't know. I mean, it's.
I mean, a hamburger isn't like a ham sandwich. Like, here's the thing. Someone actually made a really good point of this. Like, what is a hot dog out of the bun? It's a hot dog. But the thing is, what you call like whatever fixin is in a sandwich, no matter what. Call it turkey sandwich, ham sandwich. It's still a sandwich. You don't call a hot dog sandwich. It's just a hot dog. In and out of the bun is a hot dog. That's like saying, "Oh, is cereal soup?" No, it's not. It's just its own thing. It can be its own thing without having to categorize it into something.
You know what's funny? I feel like we've had this conversation on this show like years ago. Is a hot dog a sandwich? And that went on for hours. But yeah, by that logic, it kissed it. Okay, Monique, I get it. Chili dog is a bun that Kyle likes his chili dogs. A cheeseburger is technically also a sandwich.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hot dogs are hot dogs. Burgers are burgers. Sandwiches are sandwiches. There we go. Frankie settles the debate, although George will side with you, John. Speaking of other promotions, though, David Cornsweet, while Rachel Brosnahan did the CBS Mornings thing, both David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan showed up on The View as part of, again, like I said, the whole car wash thing that they do, sending them out on all the different shows.
I don't want to fucking spend a lot of time looking at The View.
This is great. Refresh this page, man. Start this thing from the top. I'm glad other people understand the value of the bulge, because this was the most perfect piece of marketing that I've seen all day. I was laughing at this. I said this to Fiona and she loved that. I was like, yes, you see it? I see it, because it's there. It's all there. Hashtag believe in the bulge, guys. We've been looking everywhere for Nicholas Hoult, and apparently he's hiding in the bulge. He's hiding in Superman's trunks. And the sequel needs to have that as a popcorn bucket. Since they have the trunks, might as well lean into that. Movie spud leaning into the whole hot dog sandwich debate. I know people are like saying that they're gonna miss this stuff in a few weeks. Us too. The marketing is wild. Speaking of wild, I mean these photos are wild, John. Like, we were looking at a few of them earlier, but Hollywood Authentic did this whole photo shoot, and you kind of walked through them a little bit. And of course, we have seen many interviews with David Cornsweet, how they made the suit fit, and all the photo shoots they've done with it. And you could really tell we were worried about, is the suit going to be loose in some places? And I think it works. And in general, just getting to know a whole hell of a lot more about David Cornsweet as an actor, because before this movie, he was a relative unknown. After this movie, everybody knows he's a Juilliard trained actor who's already, got a fairly impressive resume of things, but Superman being the standout role. And he's okay with the idea that if he's all he's ever known for is Superman, then, he's okay with that. So, yeah, I'm okay with that too. Yep. this is a great photo shoot, and then they had a video of this, which was even better. So yeah, wild thing, Caleb, wild thing indeed. Um, well, James Gunn is not going to potentially design the Batmobile unless he decides to direct the Batman movie, Brave and the Bold. It will probably be the director, which likely right now is Andy Muschietti, who's already worked with a Batman in the Flash movie. So we'll have to see. I don't know if Batman will carry the universe the rest of the way. I feel like this universe will have the duality of Batman and Superman, and then obviously the Trinity with Wonder Woman. They will definitely be like the cornerstones in addition to Supergirl. Those are the 4 pillars that David Zaslav talked about. So yeah, Goofy is a dog. Back to the bat. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. This was a great feature, though, if you want to learn more about David Cornsweet and his actor training. And then this here is just simply the Superman crew, thanking all the fans all over the world, showing up and showing out for the world tour, being so infectious and just so much fun, meeting everybody, all the costumes, the cosplays, all the friends, people crying on red carpet, the kids. They met a Clark Kent. They met some cute dogs, dude. There was a huge statue in Manila. They were standing in front of Zack Snyder in Rio de Janeiro. The Jesus statue. Sorry, I hopefully don't offend. They're coming from me, John. But anyway, and then of course the LA World premiere was great, and yeah, couldn't be happier to see these folks. I mean, they need to get some sleep. I hope that Richard Brosnahan and David Cornsweet can sleep in their own beds again sometime soon. At least David is on the East Coast, so after doing New York, he can just drive down to Philly or fly down to Philly. Rachel, I'm pretty sure, has to go all the way back to LA, so there you go. James Gunn and Peter Safran coming back from China, so they're the worst ones. Jason is here. We don't do politics on the show, Jason, but I appreciate what you're talking about. But we are not discussing Captain America today. We are discussing the OG superhero, of course, Superman. We will probably talk about Captain America eventually whenever they decide to make another movie, if they do. But if you guys are enjoying the show, hit the like button. We appreciate that. It's one little click for you guys, does a whole hell of a lot for us, and we appreciate every bit of support you guys provide us. It's been a fantastic week so far. We do have a lot more Superman conversations to be had. We have more images from the China stop, the last stop on the world tour in Beijing. And then we have more, talking about the movie itself from James Gunn. We have some news about the box office. What are the latest predictions for the opening weekend? And we have more stuff from Daily Planet, including Jimmy Olsen's desk. And there's a really funny photo on his desk, which I think, again, goes to show you this Jimmy has he's got game. He's got game.
He's got that riz, as the kids would say.
Yep. Ugh, did I just put us? Oh my God. Hold on. Sorry. I will remove that comment there. Tom, we're not doing spoilers. Please, no spoilers. And I apologize if I accidentally. Anyway, actually, we do know that Supergirl's in the movie, so that's not a spoiler, but still, let's not talk about that in more detail just yet. It has been a super, super week, Dan. Yes, it is. Although you spelled week wrong, but I'll take it.
Because you're weak. At WEAK. No.
Okay, John, we have a few other news things to talk about before we move back into Superman. So we're gonna talk about, there's a new trailer out for a new a Jason Momoa show. So remember how Jason Momoa had a show a long time ago on Apple TV Plus when they launched with this show called C? Well, now he's got a new show on Apple TV Plus called Chief of War. And apparently you can take the aqua out of the man, but you can't take the man out of the aqua, because Jason Momoa is seen riding a shark in the latest trailer for Apple TV's Chief of War, which is based on real life events from back in the day, the kingdom, the rise of the kingdom of Hawaii before it became colonized. So, John, I know you watched the trailer. What were your thoughts on this? I would love to hear from you. I know we are talking about DC today. Of course, Jason Momoa is a part
it's
of the
like
DCU.
Contingent. He's Lobo and he was Aquaman. So
it all connects. Trust me, there's a reson for this. If you want to scroll down, can you go to the trailer? But,
yeah. So I'll scroll into this, and obviously I won't do that. But what I think this is a cool thing to show off, like Polynesian mythology, history,
Mhm.
whatever. Doesn't get like the
Tamora
most we've
Morrison is
gotten
in
is like
this.
Moana and like maybe like a couple other things, but like I feel like it hasn't gotten a ton of love.
Mhm. She's
So I
from The Night Agent. I saw her in that show. If you guys watch, you
yeah.
recognize that.
But this looks good. I mean, Apple TV has been goated with its
Mhm.
shows, so this looks like an interesting showcase of history. And I like how Jason Momoa isn't his normal, like, super, like, must. Hold on, I'll try to find a good picture of him. But like here, it's like It's more. It's not like super muscular because the like Polynesian like culture and like kind of the going for more of like the accurate strongman type. Like look at
The Odyssey.
no look at in Moana the Dwayne Johnson character. I
Right.
forgot his name. He's not like the stereotypical like super like 8-pack super muscular. You see all the veins. Usually like when it comes to big strong men, they're not muscular because that's only for like bodybuilding competitions where it's like you're showing off your body. But like these guys are like actually like strong because they work on all of like the proper muscles, and you could like see it in stuff like here. um where it's not like super muscular. I think they have like carbon rich diets, but they still like exercise and stuff, and they still like lift. So they're strong, just like they're showcased in a different way. And you could it shows in that here. I mean, Jason Momoa is a producer on this. I don't think he's like a showrunner or anything, but he produced this. He probably
Right.
funded this, and it shows that there is a lot of love in this. I mean, he's working with Tamara Morrison again. I think Cliff Curtis is in this as well. Um, so it shows like his care and love for like obviously his culture, but it's nice to see that in a way that's like showcasing it kind of properly, I guess. Like it's one thing to like care about it, but like it's another thing to be like, I need to showcase this properly, like because um we're used to seeing like the stereotypical muscular look, like like the superhero look,
Right.
like how he was in Aquaman, how like Chris Hemsworth is, and Chris Pratt, where you got the fucking washboard abs, you could see every muscle working on. But here it's more of that like accurate strong man type, and that's like very much like in Polynesian culture. So like you could kind of see it here where it's not, he doesn't have the abs, but he this dude, if he fucking punches you in the head,
Mhm.
you're going out. Like
You're
Michael
probably
B.
gonna have a
Jordan getting that punch in the first
huge
read,
concussion. Yeah.
he's going out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I also love Jason Momoa in at the Stargate Atlantis before he became famous. Can you scroll forward? Like we do have the shot of him with the shark, which was I mean, again, I'm still laughing at it. I know this show's not meant to be funny. I think you have to kind of like scroll back and find it's like somewhere between
I think
2:30 and 3
it's
minutes. Somewhere around there, I think it's really a quick shot. Tamora Morrison
there it
looks
is.
great in the show, by the
Them
way.
cheeks though,
And
god
cheeks,
damn.
yeah. Oh
Look at
man,
the
okay,
bongo
yes.
drums on those cheeks. Holy shit.
Yep. Scantily clad. Apple TV Plus. It comes out later this year. They will be premiering new episodes every Friday, starting August 1st through September 19th. It looks fantastic. I love
Maui.
Jason Momoa
Yes.
and Steve.
Thank you, Caleb. Maui. I couldn't think of his name. I'm like, it begins with an M.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maui.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Jason Momoa as an actor in general. Been watching him for years.
I
Can't wait
can't
to see
wait for
this.
Lobo.
I haven't
couldn't
finished the
care
last
less
season
about
of
the
C
rest
yet,
of the
but
movie. Lobo.
yes.
Lobo.
He's gonna get his own movie. It's just a matter of time. He's gonna get his
Yep.
own movie. But John, speaking of movies, well, it looks like the Roadhouse 2 movie does not have a director anymore because Guy Ritchie has exited the project over at Amazon. Roadhouse 2 is gonna have to find a new director as Guy Ritchie is no longer involved, even though Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, still set to reprise his role in the sequel to the 2024 remake. Yes. We talked about it on Monday.
Hello.
We were talking about that on Monday's show. If you want to scroll down here, John, I do talk a little bit more about maybe what happened, but not a ton of details here just yet. a little bit too far, I think. If you go to the very first couple of paragraphs there, yeah, they don't really give us much as to why. Of course, we have Gyllenhaal coming back, and it's only been like a few months since April when Guy Ritchie signed on for the movie, but now he's gone. So I don't know. Maybe there were creative differences because the screenwriter Will Beal, he worked on Bad Boys Ride or Die. He's penning the script for this movie, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. So I don't know what happened, guys. Maybe you guys can let us know what's up with the reason, maybe why Guy Ritchie is no longer involved. Thank you, watcher, for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Remember, tomorrow 9 p.m. we'll have a spoiler chat on Superman. We've still got more Superman conversation to come up later in the show today. But yeah, you guys let us know in the comments down below. Why do you think Guy Ritchie is no longer involved with Roadhouse 2? What was the reason? Was it scheduling conflicts? Was it creative differences? That something else come up? Obviously Jake Gyllenhaal still involved in the project, so we'd love to hear from you on that front, and let us know in the comments down below. Roadhouse 2, Road Hoosier. Cool. But you know what, John? Now it's time for us to move into the quicker part of the news, and that is the quick hits. So we're gonna pop on that Bossa Nova elevator music. Let's dive into the very first one, John. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There's a new TV show coming out, and it's being told through the eyes of Chief Bromden. It's in the works. The quote here from the producer of the show is talking about we made an arrangement with Ken Casey's family to possibly do a TV show, but it's based on the book. So is this one that you'd be interested in? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Maybe.
They're
I was
making a new TV show?
scarred by the movie. It's just that it's a very tough movie to watch. It's a very great movie to watch, but it's very tough. It's a very, 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 very tough movie to watch. So It's kind of one of those movies where it's like, it's great. I respect it a lot, but
I mean, it's also like a long
I can never
time
watch
now.
again. I don't know if I could watch the show based on that fact, but like if it's that good, then maybe I'll try to catch it. But like that movie was hard enough for me to watch. I don't know if I could watch an entire TV series of it. So, it has nothing to do with the quality. Maybe a trailer will sway me. Maybe because I'm much older now, I can like take it. But obviously we'll see. But this does interest me. I'm curious how it will work. Obviously it won't hold a candle to the original movie, but I'm curious about it.
Yeah, it's also, they're saying it's based more on the book than the movie. So we'll see how it turns out. But we'll just have to wait and see what it becomes when they keep developing it. Speaking of Superman, though, Dick Tracy Rogues Gallery account on Instagram posting some really amazing fan art, John. We have been talking about amazing Superman fan art throughout the last few months, talking about the new movie that's out now. But dude, this is some of the best work I've seen to date. What did you think about this fan art?
It's definitely Dick Tracy, like, I'll give it that, and it's definitely looking good. I like it a lot. So yeah, love it. Love all of hook kits. Let's keep going with the hook kits, as Caleb would say. Solo Leveling is getting a live action series in production at Netflix with Byun Woo-suk set to star. Have you heard of Solo Leveling, John? Never heard of it. Don't really care. Don't know who this guy is. Good luck, though. Hope it doesn't get canceled after one season if it's good.
I believe this is like a game that they're like, or no, there's an anime for this as well. So you guys can watch the anime. I think there's it's a game and anime, and now it's becoming a live action adaptation. Netflix, of course, making a big splash. They recently did another event and releasing their whole slate of upcoming anime, and between them and Disney Plus, anime is becoming bigger and bigger. So Caleb, though, probably doesn't expect it to last very long. Yes, it is indeed anime, so they're turning the anime into a live action show now, and I guess we'll see how good or not good it is. But thank you, Figure Drawing, in the chat. Hello. Let's keep going with the quick hit, shall we, John? Paul McCartney is set for his first North American tour since 2022. He's coming back across the pond, Sir Paul McCartney. John, is this something that you would be interested in? Would you want to go see Paul?
If I can fucking get tickets, and if I can afford it, I might have to sell a kidney to, afford it. But like, if I could actually get a ticket and afford it, then maybe. But unlikely. I'm already selling a kidney to get all those damn popcorn buckets. So, like, you know.
Fair enough. Moving on to the next thing.
Now we go from one of the greatest artists of all time to one of the worst. So, whoopsie daisies.
Justin Bieber is also set to release some new music, his 7th album on Friday, literally hours from now. What a surprise that is. Sources say the long-awaited project includes features from Gunn, Sexy Red, and Cash Cobain. Would you listen to this, John?
Nope. I don't like Justin Bieber, his music. I mean, he's living his life. I like his music, cool. I don't really care for it. He seems kind of like a degenerate, and he's, you know, he's happy doing whatever he wants to do. So good for him, but I don't really care.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next thing. By the way, guys, please hit that like button if you're liking the show. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. It puts the show out in front of more eyeballs. And of course, we're growing the community each and every day. Video game actors, John, if you remember, they were on a strike. Recently, they had agreed to end the strike with a new contract being agreed upon. And now it's been ratified by the union. So SAG-AFTRA has officially ratified the new contract. So video game actors back off the strike. And it looks like, you know, what a strike that went on for almost an entire year, hopefully is going to be a turning point for Hollywood's AI obsession and with some new standards that were agreed to. So are you surprised that this got ratified? I think at that point it was more of a formality, but hopefully, like you see that the statue of Wonder Woman, famously recently a Wonder Woman video game got canceled.
I mean,
gaming industry is more affected by
games
movies
from
right
this?
now. So
Probably not, but like, you know,
yeah,
I have older games in my library that I will actually play, unlike the crap that these guys are spewing. But like, you know what, they got their rights, so that's pretty good. But I mean, the video game industry has been in the shitter for at least a decade, so you know, who knows.
Yeah, Warner Brothers Games was one of the many, you know, of course, EA, Epic Games, you had Disney character voices, Activision, Formosa Interactive, all of those were signees onto this new contract. So yeah, hopefully this leads to better opportunities and, you know, more protections for video game actors. Moving on to the next one, shall we? We've got some news from the world of Wicked, John. There's a new, if you didn't know already, there's a new Wicked special that's going to be airing on television later this year. And now we know it's set to feature Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo singing live. And the NBC network, of course, is where you're going to be able to see that. They've set a November date ahead of the Wicked for Good premiere. I believe this will premiere on November 6th, which is only a couple of weeks from when Wicked for Good premieres in movie theaters. So you'll be able to watch a live Wicked special airing on NBC on November 6th. Would you watch this, John? Would you tune in when they put this out?
I don't care about this. I'll watch the movie. I don't really care about anything else.
Cool. Kyle's not gonna watch it. Figure Drawing saying Wonder Woman game could have simply been an OG God of War ripoff. Yeah, voila. I don't know. They kind of like, we talked about it on the show months ago. You know, Figure Drawing, they really, you know, kind of went in circles and eventually canceled it. Whatever. But hey, Love Island. I don't know if any of you guys watch Love Island, but apparently Love Island is coming to Disney Plus UK under a landmark deal where they're going to be swapping content with ITV. ITV has their own streaming service called ITVX. So in exchange for shows like Love Island landing on Disney Plus UK, ITVX will get the bear. So
they're trying to shows getting swapped. Congratulations.
What they're trying to do here is there's some content that both ITV and Disney have, which doesn't have a lot of overlap in audiences. So they're like, you know what? We'll share these shows we have, and you can share those other shows we have, and therefore our fans will be able to watch them both. So
it's just so funny. Oh, Disney Plus, they have a fucking problem with this, but they'll fucking gladly take Love Island. Screw you.
It's interesting because this could lead to more other deals like it in the future. Maybe like Netflix and
fuck Disney.
HBO. But you know what, John? The best part about this announcement, Prime Video Italy, not only did they add NBA into their lineup, it's a packed slate for 2025, they now have another new iteration of The Traitors. The Emmy-winning franchise continues to expand with a new version called The Traitors Italia, and a bunch of rom-com movies, but mostly The Traitors Italia you can see there. I'm sure I know a few people who would be really excited about this news because now we can watch an Italiano Traitors as opposed to not just the British, American, Australian, and Indian versions, which are already out there. So let's keep on going, John. I know you have not much to say about this. So.
Don't care. Anyway. Oh, hey, something I care about. Cool.
The Fantastic Four, the director Matt Shakman has revealed the designation of the movie's, titular family's Earth. Like, which Earth are they on? They also confirmed new villains. Let's kind of go down here and take a look at what they talked about in this article, John, because this was, I thought, fairly interesting. So Matt Shakman saying that this movie takes place on Earth 828, which, if you remember, in the Multiverse of Madness, the last Doctor Strange movie, they went to Earth 838. So not quite the same thing, but not all that far away from it either. So I don't know if there's any relevance to it, John, but what do you think? Do you think this is at all going to have any sort of, I don't know, in some adjacent relevance to the whole idea that we've already seen Earth 838 and now we're going to see Earth 828?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just two different worlds that are kind of similar.
Okay.
I think maybe it's like a tongue-in-cheek reference to like Mr. Fantastic being on like 838 and like seeing the Illuminati, and then like 828 we see the proper Mr. Fantastic. So I don't know, whatever it is, I think it'll be cool.
Yeah.
To, maybe be a reference. If it's not, it's no big deal.
Yep. And if you scroll down here, you could see that they were in the UK doing their own world tour. The Fantastic Four, kind of like Superman, doing their own world tour. They've been showing 30 minutes of the movie, and a lot of people who have seen those 30 minutes, they can't really talk about it much right now, but more posters to be had. And yeah, we know that they've got four villains more or less in this. We got Mole Man, which we know is being played by Paul Walter Hauser. Of course, you have Galactus and the Silver Surfer. We might even, maybe if John Malkovich's character is back in the movie, then he might be playing another villain. Who knows? But yeah, it's going to be fun to see where the movie ends. Maybe we'll get a Doctor Doom cameo. That, so far, nobody seems to want to give away, which I'm glad they don't. So let's keep on going, shall we? Because, John, the other day we were looking at the streaming charts, and you pointed out that The Accountant 2 was at the very top of the list, and that was some good arithmetic, as Deadline will tell you, because Ben Affleck's sequel has now pulled in 80 million Prime Video viewers, which is making it Amazon MGM's second most watched picture of all time. John, I know this movie didn't do as well as we thought it would do at the box office, but it did, basically almost 3x its opening weekend. It opened to 24.5 million, finished with 65.5 worldwide. It made 103 million, so not super impressive, but it was certified fresh with a 72% Rotten Tomato score, and then had a 92% popcorn meter, which is right in that Superman range right now. So do you think this makes it more likely? Obviously, in addition to that, it was doing great at the festival circuit at South by Southwest. It won the Audience Award. So and it had a world premiere at the festival there in Austin. It's now number one in Nielsen's movie chart, debuting with 1.384 billion minutes streamed. Do you think all of this success post-theatrical means that we might actually get the cinematic universe at the end of that movie promises? Maybe a sequel or spin-offs?
Maybe, but it'll probably be straight to streaming if that's the case. I don't think it'll be a theatrical.
That's unfortunate, yeah. Yep, but I still hope to see more from this world. I mean, I want to see a John Bernthal spin-off. Give me an Accountant 3. Give us more of that. Maybe bring J.K. Simmons back to life. I don't know, I wouldn't mind that. Anyway, let's keep on going, shall we? We got a couple of more quick hits. Larry David, John, is set to make his HBO return after Curb Your Enthusiasm with a new American history sketch comedy show. This one is being produced by the Obama's production company Higher Ground. They have a deal to work with HBO, and it looks like the Obamas and Larry David are teaming up on a new sketch comedy show for HBO. Would you be watching it when it comes out?
Maybe.
All right. Okay. Well, I will just wait and see, because Larry David doesn't miss the mark very often, so can't wait. Let's keep on going, shall we?
We don't know, but it seems to be that Fantastic Four is the best movie since Endgame, since the last movie since best movie since Endgame. So fuck Thunderbolts, I guess, but
Yeah. Shang-Chi was also pretty good. Anyway, the last quick hit that we have is Scrubs, the revival of the show, of course. We know that Zach Braff was already coming back, but we now also know that they've got Donald Faison and Sarah Chalk both returning to the show as well.
Oh my God.
And it's already got a whole series order at ABC. So it's not just a pilot. It's not just a few episodes. They have brought it back all the way. John, are you going to be watching the Scrubs revival?
No.
They will look a lot older.
I never watched a single episode of the original show, so
yeah.
Nope.
Cool. I also don't relate to the show all that much. But anyway, that's all the quickies that we had for you guys and all the news so far. Again, now we're going to get into more DC stuff, so do hang around for that. But in the meantime, if you are watching live, hit that like button. If you're watching after the fact, hit that like button. We do appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you're new. We are here 5 days a week talking about DC, Marvel, and you know, the whole 9 yards, everything from Hollywood. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live, like tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, doing our Superman open spoiler discussion. But right now, what we're going to be doing is, of course, getting into DCU Daily proper, because we already had like a huge Superman segment earlier, but now we have more Superman stuff to talk about, other stuff from the marketing, the promotion, as well as the opening weekend box office numbers. We've got some updates there. So let's dive into another episode of DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka, hunka.
All right, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. Of course, it's gonna be a packed one, as it always is. We've got lots more to talk about, a lot of Superman stuff. So, John, what are you most excited to talk about? I know we'd already had a huge Superman discussion earlier in the show, in the news part of the show, but now that we're into DCU Daily proper, what are you most looking forward to talking about?
Anything that isn't Superman related, which is I don't think anything. I'm just like, okay, I just need a breather. I need a fucking breather. Like, oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. Honestly, I'm more excited to talk about Fantastic Four. Like, I still love the movie. I
oh my God, John! No, whoa!
I just
the folks,
give me more Fantastic. It's just like, oh my God, it's a break. It's a break. Like, I got another hero. Thank God, not Superman.
By the way, do you have any of that loaded up?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's
okay. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Let's dive into the first thing here. And what you just sent me, by the way, off screen, if you want to load that up too, we'll get into that later. But the first thing that we're going to talk about here is the Warner Brothers archive doing a breakdown of the evolution of the Superman costume, the suits over the years, starting with Christopher Reeve all the way back in 1978 to the version that we have in 2025 and everything in between. I know they've done a few of these kind of comparisons before. You could see that behind them, Warner Brothers has a huge archive of costumes. And John, man down, you Supermaned out. Yeah. I didn't know the day would come, literally the day Superman is out in theaters, that John is already like ready to move on. Holy cow. But this is a great breakdown of the Superman suit design. So you guys are welcome.
I still love it. Don't worry, and I still like talking about it. I'm just saying, like, there's other things. Well, I think it's because it's like that. It's like two parts of the show. It's like we have the news and DCU Daily. It's like, whoa, too much. Just saying, like.
Well, I mean, put it. Would you rather like it's? I'm just saying we gotta like help the people out, right? So that's why. But yeah. Anyway, let's keep on going. We got more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, great costumes, looking good, loving this. Except the lines fucking suck. But outside of that, good stuff.
The next thing here is just a nice social media edit of just if you're a fan of David Cornsweet, you're getting a lot of, as Kayla might say, hunka hunka in this movie. So be prepared for that, because we're gonna be talking about him all weekend long. Actually, all week.
And then the real star of the film,
Guy Gardner's ready. Are you? This is from the set where he's like, this is the part where you hurry up and wait, which is, if you guys are familiar with the movie making process, you get your costume on, make sure you memorize your lines, and then you're ready to go. Then after hurrying up to do all that stuff, you got to wait, because the camera team is setting up the camera and they're working on the lights, And so, it's part of the filmmaking process. That's really what it comes down to. So yeah, hurry up and wait. But Guy Gardner certainly still, did the job. When it came down to the movie, I think he was one of the best parts of the film. I really enjoyed his
That
part of
haircut
the
should be
movie.
against your vows.
And I love the part where he is, because we talked about this before. It's already out there. He loves his Fruity Pebbles. I love that part of the movie. I was like, yay, it's in the movie. Because, we saw the behind the scenes of it. It looked fantastic. Terrific, I mean. But anyway, let's keep on going, shall we? This is China. Ni hao, China. So, like I mentioned before.
Damn, I like these neon fucking signs here. Those are cool.
Look up, and keep on looking up, because Superman landing in Beijing for his final stop on the world tour. You could see the fans were out for it, and they were enjoying it. And James Gunn,
and this would make a good thumbnail image. By the way,
we're gonna save that. Don't you worry, John. And then James Gunn doing some other artwork that looked like a wrestling mask, and meeting all the cute doggies. Oh my god, so many good boys. Or maybe not so good boys as well. Look at that one. Oh my god, that is one of the cutest dogs. They know how to get James Gunn to smile. But yeah, John will be revived after he watches Superman again tomorrow. Yes, and then he'll be ready for all the ranting that he's gonna do on the open spoiler chat. So yeah, Guy was great in the movie. But yeah, John, this was the last stop on the tour. So just to kind of go over what the world tour looked like, Manila was the big kickoff in Philippines, and they went to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Those are two big stops. They did a lot of work. I mean, in both of those instances, we saw pretty much David Cornsweet and Richard Brosnahan and James Gunn there. Peter Safran showed up in a couple of those spots. I don't think he was in every stop, but then after that, they went to London, there was a big presence. Pretty much everybody was there, including Nicholas Hoult showing up there too in his home country. And then for Paris, they just sent Peter and James there. And then the rest of the cast went back to LA to prep for the world premiere. The world premiere, of course, is where everybody showed up. Everybody, all the rest of the supporting cast, and James Gunn, and of course Peter Safran, as well as getting even like Michael Rosenbaum and some of the other like voice cast members and other members of the DCU already showing up to that red carpet, because it was the world premiere. And then they went to New York yesterday, and in New York they basically sent David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan, and then the other direction went James Gunn and Peter Safran into Beijing for the Chinese world premiere, and they had a special screening, a Q&A session. And John, it looks like the world tour has come to a terrific end as the movie drops. Jason asking, you guys are too young to be voting on 90s shit except for Eric. I was around in the 90s. I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean,
I was technically around for 2 years in the 90s.
So. I'm like, I remember the 90s. I don't remember all of the 90s, but I do remember the 90s. I grew up on the cartoons and all the stuff that DC was doing in the 90s. I love the Batman movies from that era. And yeah, so I'm just glad that look at how far we've come. It's DC has gone through so many eras, and the latest one is looking like a great one, John. So let's keep on going here. We have a few more promotional items from the world of Superman. Of course, remember there was this BBFC competition, basically asking, one of the many, talented artists or in the UK to come up with some great fan art they could include at the very top of the Superman movie, all the screenings that they would be playing in the UK. And it looks like they found a winner. And they met Elsie, and you could see they sat down, and she was excited. She's studying to become a graphic designer, I think. And yeah, they were just excited to inform her that not only is she the winner, her artwork, the winning artwork, will play before every screening of the movie in the UK. That is amazing, right? Like and they talked about like the suit thing too. Like, does Superman like wear the suit under his clothes? Because what about the cape? That was Elsie's question. And I feel like James Gunn is like, you can see at several points in this clip, he's like, dude, it's just a movie. Like, we're not overthinking it.
This is the guy who overthought the fucking glasses. Like, come on, James Gunn.
Glasses thing. Well, how would you go about explaining the suit? Like, where does the suit fit? Like, because it's not like the Flash who has a ring, like where it becomes like miniaturized in the ring.
I think the cape is the big, because the thing is, this version wears really baggy clothes, so I think it works. Like, he can make that work. It's just the cape is the outlier. I think he either stuffs the entire thing like behind his shirt, and then it like unfolds, and it's like cape, or it, as David said here, maybe it does like wrap around his leg and it's just like a weird tapered kind of thing.
Maybe I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a future movie. Maybe if he shows up in a Peacemaker cameo, I'm sure Chris Smith will ask him about that, because why not? But we do have to talk about some other Daily Planet newsletter reveals, because they're still marketing the heck out of this movie, including the Daily Planet newsletter, which is basically a broadcast channel on Instagram. So they will post new things pretty much like every day, whether it's a behind the scenes video, photo, some fan art. So the very first thing we're going to talk about today is, they were talking about how today our insiders at the Daily Planet have scored an exclusive look into the Daily Planet, courteous of sports reporter Steve Lombard, John. So we gotta
Crank That by Soulja Boy.
He's like, what are you listening to?
Crank That by Soulja Boy. Oh, thanks.
I guess that's Soulja Boy exists in the DCU.
Always bring my mitt and my ball to work.
I love that in the Full House intro that they did. Love it. This is great. I love it. I love this. This is, again, more inside. They're going to keep doing this because obviously the movie marketing doesn't stop when the movie comes out. They're probably going to still, be keeping that up for a few weeks. And of course, then probably a lot of Peacemaker marketing. So I remember in the Superman handbook, there's a compartment in this jacket where the cape is tucked. That's a really good idea, actually, Enterprising. Thank you for pointing that out. Steve Lombard, I do want to get more of him. I feel like Beck Bennett made for an iconic iteration of Steve Lombard. So would love to see more of him in future Superman movies, whether it's a sequel or spinoff or, I don't know. Bring him into everything. Beck Bennett is certainly, a very different iteration from what we got in Man of Steel. What was the actor? He was in the Penguin, and he's in Jack Ryan. Michael Kelly. Great actor, completely different iteration. He was more of a douchebag. Beck Bennett plays a more lovable douchebag. Like, he's like, why don't I have a seat? Like when he's in the
I need to Persephone. I need to murder. That was, yeah.
Love it. Oh my God. And then every time he's like riding Clark's coattails in the movie, like, that's very, very comic accurate.
I'm surprised Superman wasn't listening to Metallica. That was the thing I was hoping for, James. God damn it.
The Mighty Crabjoys. That's Superman's favorite. Now, as I mentioned, John, they do have a lot of fan art. So they posted a few more pieces of fan art. They all look amazing. This sequence is right at the top of the movie. Not a spoiler. We already know this. So, and we've seen other artwork for this, and it looks really, really cool. Like, even though the logo here is not the one from the film.
There you go.
But what they talked about is, again, these are, their weekly fan art drops, out of this world fan art. These ones come to us from Davey A86 on X, SN Caricatures, and Swam Comics on Instagram. What a cute crypto fan art that is, John. I can frame that and put it on my wall. And Metamorpho, one of the surprisingly relatable and one of the most human characters in this movie, despite the fact that he looks anything but. And that's something we'll talk about on tomorrow's spoiler chat for Superman. But John, I really enjoyed Metamorpho in the movie, and I'm glad that he's getting some love in this fan art as well. But
and then we have our boy.
It's not AI, it's real.
And then we have our boy, the best character in the movie. We have a little bit of
Hey, I'm Jimmy Olsen. This is my office at the Daily Planet, aka where the magic happens.
Yep.
We have computer, camera equipment, my two girlfriends. They're great. I don't know if it's going to work out long term, but they're super sweet.
I don't get it. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
It's very comic accurate. Like, that's the thing, though. That's like,
I mean, what is that between those two and then what happens in the movie? Like, all the women that are batting their eyes at him. It's, I don't know, man. Jimmy seems to have something down. It's Marty McFly meet Ferris Bueller. All right, that's definitely true. And what makes it all the much more funnier is that Skylar Gazondo thought he was actually auditioning for Superman during his audition, which I'm like, are you sure, buddy?
And he still slays more than Superman.
Way more. It's the confidence. That's what it is. Because at one point, like, Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane is like, how how? Like, how do you do this? Like, it's just genuinely like, and he's like, I'm trying to like give you a scoop here, and she's like, no, but explain to me how. Like, what is it? Like, what? Because nobody understands what is it about, Jimmy. I mean, like you said, it's probably confidence enterprising, but it was funny. I didn't even notice this in the movie until we got this clip, but I'm like, yep, makes sense.
Well, I noticed it in the other clip where it was like other Daily Planet stuff, where it was like,
oh yeah, hypno contacts. Yeah, Clark hooked him up. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? Certainly, Jimmy got game, and I want that on a T-shirt. Maybe we'll work on that when we launch memberships this weekend. we'll have a shirt. Jimmy got
it's
game.
The picture of like Skylar just going like this, and then it's just Jimmy's got game.
Jimmy's got game, or like do a silhouette of that image just with like him like this, and just do a silhouette, and then like two ladies on it. Yeah, it's Jimmy's got game. Yeah. Raya's here. Evening, y'all. Smash the like button like Raya's telling you to. The Glimmercast. Thank you so much for joining in, as always. Caleb, of course, saying he's jealous of Jimmy, aren't we all, Caleb? But hey, you know what? Jimmy's gonna be just fine, and as will be Clark. So let's keep on going here, John, because now we're gonna talk about Kevin Feige's reaction to James Gunn landing the gig over at DC, going all the way back to when he landed the Suicide Squad after being fired by Disney. James Gunn was like, they like Alan Horn called him back. He was like, he couldn't sit with the decision, and they felt like they made a mistake. They hired him back for Guardians of the Galaxy. But by that time, even as early as back then, remember, we knew that James Gunn was offered Superman, and he denied that to work on the Guardians of the Suicide Squad. But even then, it looked like Kevin Feige knew that something was gonna stick, and he probably had lost James Gunn in the long run. And as it turns out, yes, he did. Kevin Feige was not the happy. He was like, "Oh, are you doing Superman?" Because like clearly Kevin Feige is a big fan. He said as much. He loves Christopher Reeve Superman.
Caleb, watch those spoilers.
Yeah. What did Caleb say?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh, okay.
Because it does spoil somebody. I'm just saying, Caleb, watch the spoilers. All right.
Yes, please watch the spoilers, guys. We do not want to get into the spoilers until tomorrow's show, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing the full open spoiler discussion. I'll keep plugging that as much as I can. But yeah, let's keep on going here, shall we, John? We got a few more things. Caleb is apologizing. Thank you, Caleb. But yes, we're going to stay away from the spoilers. James Gunn didn't feel guilt at all leaving the MCU to direct for DC, and continuing to that on that same thread. If you scroll down here, John, I think we have a few quotes we can get into. I'm not surprised, honestly. He thought his career was over when he got fired. But like he said, Toby Emmerich from Warner Brothers at the time came to me. He's like, James, Gunn's Superman? And then he recalled, on the Armchair podcast, expert podcast, which we were just listening to or just watching the clip from. And James Gunn continued on saying, he said at the time, I don't know, man. And then he was like, well, what about Suicide Squad? So I came up with an idea. I went and pitched it. They were like, yeah, let's do it. And then, of course, in the long run, James Gunn did go back to working on the Superman script. And now we have Superman the movie. But in the moment, he went to Kevin's house, as in Kevin Feige, saying, I went into his basement where he's got all his Star Wars figures with like a little museum. And he said, this is amazing. Kevin Feige did, and James Gunn said, I'm like, yeah, it's good, but I have to do something else first. And oh my God, I didn't remember this until right now. Kevin goes, are you doing Superman? So Kevin Feige immediately knew they were probably going to offer him Superman without him even realizing that that's exactly what Toby Emmerich, who was in charge of Warner Bros. At the time, did that. Yeah, I know. So yes, Nico, he was fired by Disney, but then he was not that long after rehired by Disney to do Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But John, why don't you go over this next part here, because it's just interesting to see how the magic happens, as they say in the background.
Yeah, he was asked if he felt an ethical dilemma jumping from ship for DC. No, I just shook my head. I didn't feel that way because I was fired. Listen, there are people that I'm not that happy with over there at Disney, but that certainly wasn't the Marvel guys. They were completely supportive. Louis Disposito called me all the time. Lou and Kevin were great. So it certainly wasn't them, but I didn't feel guilt at all. I mean, I had to take a job. I took a job with people that I also really liked, and that was it.
Yeah. There's not much else to it. And like Monique is saying, Hollywood is a very small town. So, You got to keep up the good relationships. You can't burn the bridges. And certainly, I don't think James Gunn left or burned any bridges at Marvel. That's why I think today it's more possible than ever before. We could see a Marvel DC crossover. We're getting the first one in the comics in a long, long time already with Batman and Deadpool. So maybe in the future, if James Gunn and Kevin Feige can do it, if anybody can do it, Kevin Feige and James Gunn can do it. They can put together DC and Marvel in some kind of a movie crossover of some kind. I would love to see that. But yeah, let's keep on going, John. We got a few more things here. More stuff from James Gunn. He was talking about the whole experience of filming the movie, mentioning that David Cornsweet would ask one question too many on the Superman set many a times and not take it personally when James Gunn just told him to shut the F up. And it's good when you have actors who are willing to do that, because some actors are sensitive, like James Gunn mentioned. David's not that way. John, how much does it help that you have somebody like David Cornsweet, who's clearly very curious? He did his research, he had a lot of questions, but he's also willing to just be like, okay, James knows what he's doing, I trust him, and I'll do what he's wanting me to do here. Because that's similar to Henry Cavill too. I find a lot of similarities there.
This definitely gives like a very like Quentin Tarantino, Sam Jackson kind of relationship, where it's like the mutual respect is there. They know what they both want. Here it is, all that stuff. But it's just like James Gunn is just like, bro, we gotta make a movie.
Like we gotta make the day. Like we have like 3 more camera setups to do, and 2 more pages to film. Let's just get a move on, shall we? Like, I think if I want to go into the later part of the article, they say here, in a lot of ways, James and I are made for each other. This is David Cornsweet talking about it from his GQ cover story, saying that James has this habit of, as you're working on the scene, he'll sit back by the monitors on the God mic and he'll yell directions at you, which is not how directors generally work. You usually do the scene, they say cut, and then they come and say very privately and quietly, which is, I think, Christopher Nolan pretty much works that way, as did Stanley Kubrick. A lot of directors do. But then James Gunn, like David is saying here, has a different style. He loved that moment where you did this. And what if we tried something else in the next one? So it looks like, the combination here just works. And you can see that in the movie, because, I mean, David Cornsweet is very much the Superman. Like, he's definitively one of the best parts of the movie. Kaiser 94 in the chat saying, by now in the US, the movie has only gained $90 million. The movie is falling down in Europe and China. This movie, it seems, would not even reach that mark. I don't know, Kaiser, what your source is, because we have some other numbers from more credible sources than just a YouTube comment. And again, not saying that you don't know what you're talking about, but do give us your source. We'll see what the numbers come out to be. Right now, the tracking is looking pretty good. But John, let's keep on going to the next article, shall we? We've got more stuff from Superman. Of course, this one slightly on the negative side.
Dean Cain wanting another 15 minutes after he hasn't been relevant for too long. So
ex-Superman Dean Cain says that James Gunn made a mistake calling Superman an immigrant, and it's going to hurt the box office. He also said, how woke is Hollywood going to make this character? Which, again, we have seen this.
It's been since 1938, my guy.
Yeah.
To break it to you.
That's what Superman has always been.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, okay. So, Ryan, did you see Superman already? Saying David Cornsweet as Superman is great. The movie around him is fun, but I'd love to see something less campy and on the nose. That seems to be in line with a lot of other reactions we've gotten so far, Raya. So yeah, tomorrow we'll be doing a live full spoiler open discussion for Superman at 9 p.m. Eastern. So do tune in for that, and you can take part in the conversation. But yeah, Figure Drawing saying Dean Cain is the only one who should SDFU Gunn should call him. Yes, call him
because Dean Cain, he did play a good Superman.
I loved his Superman. I grew up on his TV show.
He's the most diverse Superman.
So he is, yeah,
because I think he's got Japanese and I think maybe Hispanic blood in him. But yeah, he technically the most diverse Superman, and he's the one that's spewing this bullshit rhetoric. But that's just how it be.
Yep. So Raya telling us though that she's already seen Superman twice. Question for you then, Raya, without spoiling anything, did your opinion of the movie change on 2 watches, or like, did you pretty much think the same both times? Because for me, I feel like I have not seen it second time yet. Maybe my opinion will change once I go see it a second time. So we would love to hear from you. But Antonio in the chat saying 21 million plus on previews, matching the Batman or having the chance to pass him is a great sign. And hello and welcome into the show, Antonio. I agree with you that anything, if there's any comparison, I think the Batman is a great comp for Superman. And if it's beating the Batman's numbers at previews, then that is a really good start. So Figure Drawing saying, John, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's agreeing with you. There you go. Good stuff.
It's
the Glimmer
very
cast.
Dumb. It's just like him not understanding the character that made him famous for a couple of years, and then since he had no career afterwards, he went the way of a lot of has-been actors like Kevin Sorbo and Melissa Joan Hart and all those people that are like, might as well become born again Christian and then do that shit. So it's like, and I'm not shitting on religion, and we won't get into that. I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of just doing like the propaganda movies and just like going that way, and it's sad because like I've seen like an episode or two of Lois and Clark, and he's a good like I've seen a lot of clips. He's a good Superman. I'm not gonna act like he's Christopher Reeve or anything, but yeah, that is true. He's getting a steady paycheck. It's just stuff like this is like when Rob Liefeld is like, hey, I'm leaving Marvel and DC for the trillionth time. It's like, yeah, you've done this. Like, why are you saying this? It's like, all right, bro, calm down. Hello, Fiona.
Hi, Fiona.
And so it's just
woke
like,
up in the middle of the
like,
night.
calm down, bro. Just move the hell on. We get it. You want to be relevant, but you're not going to be relevant anymore. So just move on.
By the way, I do want to welcome a couple of special viewers to the channel right now. We have got Just Some Geeky Guy saying, yo, I'll drop a super chat in a bit. Thank you. As always, hello to Just Some Geeky Guy. Oh, John is muting himself. And hello and welcome to Fiona. Fiona, actually, let me talk to you through the show here. We are doing the 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, live open spoiler discussion on Superman. And if you guys remember, Fiona was on the show on Tuesday when we did a spoiler-free review of Superman. But now that we're getting to the spoilers tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, why don't you let us know, Fiona, if you can join the show, because we'd love to have you on, of course. I'm sure it's going to be fun. And Liz will be here, and it will be a lot of fun. But speaking of fun, I did ask earlier to the Glimmer cast, Raya in the chat, saying that when she went to see it a second time, her opinion changed in a positive way. So there you go, Enterprising. If you're still worried about this, it looks like if you go see it a second time, you might have a more positive reaction to the movie. And Frankie G as well, who was here earlier. I don't know if you're still watching. Maybe on second viewing, it might improve for you a little bit. Like for me, I'm hoping that when I watch it a second time, maybe I'll have more positive of a reaction, even though I still gave the movie a 7 out of 10. So, it's not like I didn't like the movie. But anyway, John, let's keep on going, because moving on from Dean Cain back to the Superman we have now, including the director of the current Superman movie, James Gunn mentioning that every DCU movie will have a completely different tone. So when we get to see a Batman film versus a Superman film, don't expect them to be very much alike, which is hopefully a good thing, because that means we'll get different voices and different directors being able to do their own thing. By the way, Fiona saying, oh boy, lol, spoiler time tomorrow. So yes, we do hope to see you on there. No commitments yet, but we'll see if we can get both Liz and Fiona on the show, because it would be a nice full circle moment from Tuesday when we talked about the movie. Yeah, M2G, another good example. Went to see it twice, saying it was more coherent and enjoyable the second time watching. Crazy that you missed something. Oh, so what? Don't tell us yet, but tomorrow definitely mention to us when we were doing the show. What did you miss the first time around that you caught the second time around, especially in the third act? Like something significant you're saying. Antonio here saying, I'm happy for Superman fans, and I hope that other DC fans as well as other Superman fans go see this movie, or just regular fans of movies as well. So Enterprising, of course, happy to see that a lot of people are having a better time with the movie on their second viewing. Now, Superman, of course, directed by James Gunn, talking about other movies in the new DCU, he said, look, in this movie, it's really important to me that every project has its own stamp on it. So while Superman obviously isn't, feels much more campy, much more, has that all-star Superman influence, James Gunn said that this movie is very different from the rated R movie we are making, a body horror movie with Clayface. It's very different from the Sergeant Rock movie we're developing, which, by the way, is news in the sense that he just said Sergeant Rock is not quite dead yet. So that confirms that, it's still on hold and not the movie that they killed. Sorry, John, if you want to stay up there, there's more quotes that I wanted to read off. Also saying very different from Supergirl, which is a space fantasy. Craig Gillespie just walked by here a second ago when they were doing this interview on the red carpet. And so every one of these movies is completely different. James Gunn continued on to say, what I love about DC Comics and the graphic novels is that they allowed the individual artists and writers to create their own projects. They each had their own voice. The Long Halloween, All-Star Superman, Dark Knight, Watchmen, those things have very little tonally in common with each other, except for they are a part of the set of communal characters that are in the DC Comics universe. And now we're doing the same thing in the DCU, John. And specifically about Clayface, he said it's pure effing horror, like totally real. Their version of that movie, it's so real, true, and psychological, and body horror and gross. So we're getting a body horror movie. John, you are, by the way, muted, just letting you know. But we would love to see a body horror Clayface.
I was just saying, yeah. I was like, woo, yeah. Nothing major to hear,
By the way, Antonio, to answer your question, we did talk about the report that Mr. Terrific and Skylar Gazondo's Jimmy Olsen might be both getting potential spin-off TV shows earlier. There was a there was a Wall Street Journal article that we discussed at the very top of the show. I think one of you guys in the chat mentioned it, and we brought that into the show. So, Antonio, if you want to rewind, we will probably bring it up again in the future. But it was fun. And this here video is talking about the LA premiere again, which was, of course, the world premiere of the movie and the third last stop on the world tour. They've, of course, done New York and Beijing in the last 24 hours because they sent Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet out east to New York, and then they sent James Gunn and Peter Safran out west and then over the date line out east into Beijing, China. So we did talk about the Mr. Terrific spinoff, Antonio. Also, I don't know if you all saw the picture that was on Twitter from a certain house, says Antonio. Let's just say I responded to that pic. I don't know if you're talking about Superman or if you're talking about something with the Avengers Doomsday filming right now. But Antonio, we'll get back into that another time. I don't know. Maybe you should clarify for us. Obviously, avoiding spoilers. And if you are on X, then send us a DM. Send us what you want us to talk about. We are on X, and we can bring that into the show. So, and MTG did not hear about the spinoffs. Yes. Okay. So, just a quick reminder, basically, there's an article. I don't know, John, if you still have it open or not, but there was an article in the Wall Street Journal where they talked about, what it's going to take to potentially save the studio Warner Brothers Discovery, including
I think you brought that in.
Okay, yeah. I'll see if I can bring that into, again, there was pressure for, there is pressure for James Gunn's Superman to, obviously be a big hit to help Warner Brothers Discovery in this strategy with how important DC is for them. But then, in addition to that, they were talking about in that same article that DC is considering, James Gunn is specifically is considering the idea of a Mr. Terrific and also maybe Jimmy Olsen spinoff, potentially getting their own TV shows. Not the same show, but two separate potential TV spinoffs, maybe on HBO Max or wherever else they might want to do it. Again, very early, stages, so I don't think this confirms anything. For all we know, neither of them get a spinoff. But the speculation obviously would be which direction would they go, and regardless of whether it's a Terrific spinoff, including Mr. Terrific, a Justice Gang related spinoff, or if the Skylar Gazondo, Jimmy Olsen would be a Daily Planet show, or would it be just solely focused on him? So we just have to wait and see how that works out. Enterprising would, like both of them, so that's great. That Terrific mask was cool. Definitely was a great costume, great mask, and it would be amazing to see both of those characters in their own shows. They were definitely two of the standout supporting characters in the movie. So, yeah, and hey, of course, if you have questions, we're here to answer them. So, absolutely happy to help. And then you can always rewind back and, look back at the previous conversation we had. Just some geeky guys sending in a super chat saying Superman was a huge surprise for me. I did not expect to love it like I did as someone who is a Snyder bro. Well, I mean, just because you like Zack Snyder's movies doesn't, make you one of the cultists. Like, I love Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I also enjoyed Superman. So Justin Guy giving the movie an 8 out of 10. We'll check it out again. That is fantastic, my friend. That is terrific.
No,
thank you so much.
Terrific. It's terrific. It's
for
super.
sharing that. Sorry. I will get it right eventually. But yeah, we love that you enjoyed it. And then when you go see it a second time, let us know what you thought about it a second time. What did you notice? What did you miss out on the first time? Was your experience better or worse? A lot of people so far seem to be saying that the second time around the movie gets better for them, which James Gunn movies do have a tendency to do that. I feel like all the Guardians movies on second, third watch feel even better than the first time around, which is why I'm excited to go see it a second time. And Antonio saying, as a fellow Snyder fan, thank you, brother, for actually giving the movie a chance. It's spending your time and money. Yeah, exactly. Look, you can like and love both of them, or not enjoy one, and then you still have the other one to look forward to, because just because you love the new Superman movie, Man of Steel still exists, and vice versa. So you don't have to worry about picking one. Nico questioning the idea of a Jimmy Olsen show. I don't think they're going to do a New Gods anything. We talked about this on yesterday's show, actually, John, right? So you went into that and what your preference would be. And I'm sure it will come up again tomorrow when we do this full spoiler chat. Okay. No worries, MTG. I know you're on the West Coast, but you can always, join in the chat and we'll address your questions for.
Enterprising gave us one too.
Oh, hey, Enterprising. Thank you for the super chat. I hope they call it Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. That would be fun. That would great marketing. The marketing team over at DC Studios will love that. And I would love to see if David Cornsweet also makes a few cameos along the way. I think you'd be open to the idea. They could probably just turn it into like a dating show. Jimmy Olsen's like Love Island, except just Jimmy Olsen. The Bachelor, basically. And then we'd be Jimmy Olsen and in the world of the DCU. That would be great. Or have you now, just some geeky guy? You have rejected the false god Zack Snyder and embraced James Gunn as your true Lord and Savior. That is great. That is amazing. Thank you, just some geeky guy, for sharing the awakening that has happened in your spiritual part of your life. We appreciate it, and we are so glad to be a part of that important part of your life. Speaking of an important part of your life, John, an important part of the movie and the life of the Superman that we are getting here was getting his ass beat by the Hammer of Baravia. As it turns out, of course, the Hammer of Baravia wasn't just doing it all on his own. Now this clip is out in the world, so it's technically, we can show it to you before we get to the open spoiler chat. It looks like they've already mapped out all these moves for him, and Lex Luthor's calling the shots. So this was a fun clip, John. I mean, it happens in the movie, and
it's at the very beginning, so this is not really much.
It's not consequential to like most of the film, like later on. This is literally within the first 10 minutes of the movie. So, and it's out there on IGN. You can go check this out for yourself. But yeah, I was surprised this is the direction they went in, but it definitely adds up. Like when you see the context of all this later in the movie, the hate boner that Lex has for Superman. This is all very much in line with that. So I enjoyed that. But anyway, I don't know, John, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty phenom.
Yep. The fight scenes were amazing. And I thought, I don't think the fight choreography was the best, but it was shot really well, outside of a few wonky moments. But yeah, Mr. Crypto and Mr. Terrific were trending on Twitter because of course they were. They were two of the best parts of the movie. And this is the cast of the movie here. They're asking you, have you got your tickets? Because Nicholas Hoult has his tickets. This is from when they were in London, by the way. So they shot this while they were there. And between Nicholas Hoult, Richard Brosnahan, and David Cornsweet, they all got their tickets. I know a lot of us have already seen the movie, but I still love the idea that they're promoting it. Like the social media marketing is still in overdrive, Sean. Have you got your tickets? Yeah, of course, I've got my tickets.
I don't have your tickets. I've got plenty. It's on my phone. It's on my phone.
That's where my ticket was. I still have to get another showing, so I'll let you know when I do. But maybe tomorrow before the show, maybe I should do that. That would be a good idea.
And I'm just gonna say, like, again, I said this yesterday, saying it again today. Again, he's got major Brendan Fraser mummy vibes right here with that outfit specifically.
That is a Brendan Fraser mummy outfit right out of the movie, straight out of the movie. You're right about that.
And the thing is, I was talking with some other people who saw the movie. They're like, he gave me Brendan Fraser vibes. I'm like, I know, right?
You had that moment, right, John? You had that moment. It was like, oh my God, it's Brendan Fraser.
It's like, this is the closest we'll get. Although I would I still would have loved. I still would love to see like, I don't know, somewhere else. I don't know how, but like I would love to see Brendan Fraser maybe like like voice Superman or play like Jor-El in like another version or something like that. That would be.
To answer your question, Fiona, was the bulge bulging enough? Yes, because that's clearly where Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is hanging out. So yes, the bulge was bulging, and it was certainly bulging enough. I love James Gunn's emoji reaction to this one. This is great. I love this marketing. It's so good.
Comic book stop. Oh my god, dead.
Whatever happened to the Bane and Deathstroke movie? My boy Bane needs his time to shine. Yeah, I don't know, Bane. That's a good question. James Gunn does not address it. It officially does not exist, but maybe they're still working on it. We don't have any recent updates, but I bet you will hear about it soon. Like, but right now, the focus is going to be like, who brought it up? Steven brought it up. The next thing on the calendar is Peacemaker. Comes out in August, so that's what we'll get to next, and then from there we'll hopefully get to hear more about stuff that's coming out in 2026 and 2027. Because right now they don't have a movie on the calendar for 2027, but maybe one of those movies could be Bane versus Deathstroke. So if they will still, if indeed they're still working on it, so yeah, that spinning heat vision should have been kept in the movie. Yeah, I think they gave away I was surprised how much of the latter half of the movie they've shown in the trailers. That's something that I thought they were really going to hold back on. Although they don't give you a lot of context, so it's not like it spoiled anything, but still. I would have preferred them to kind of leave that out a little bit. But anyway, John, getting back to what you were showing us earlier. The next thing we have to talk about, of course, is the box office. Now, this first article we discussed yesterday, so I just want to use this to set the groundwork for what we're going to talk about next. Deadline was reporting this from a couple of days ago, saying that Superman is set to fly around the world with at least 200 million plus. That's a worldwide opening weekend number. And when you break it down, they were mentioning roughly a half of that, 100 million or so, will be domestic, US and Canada. And then the rest of that 100 plus million would be international. Now, if you go to the next article, John, James Gunn's Superman, they're talking about, and I think this is from CBR, saying that if they hit this particular milestone, it will shatter a 9-year-old box office record for DC. So if you kind of scroll down here, I think they mentioned here per Box Office Mojo, the Superman reboot would shatter a film series record if it surpasses $166 million domestically during its first 3 days. That they're referring to is any movie released by Warner Brothers, whether it's DC Studios, Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, all of those movies. The highest grossing opening weekend currently belongs to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then for DC, the highest opening weekend was for BVS. Despite what people may think about the movie, it actually grossed 166 million opening weekend, which is the high mark for any DC film. And if Superman goes over that, then it would definitely be breaking a record that BVS has held for 9 years. John, based on the numbers you're seeing right now, the reception, not perfect, but definitely overwhelmingly positive. Do you think this movie has any chance of getting to 166 million opening weekend, or no?
I don't think so. I still don't think so. I think it's getting a lot of love, and I appreciate that, but I don't think so.
This is one of those things where even in this article alone, they mentioned 125 to 145. But if for whatever reason the tracking is way off, which it happens every once in a while, maybe it has a shot. I think right now the odds of it getting that far might be pretty low. I don't think we're gonna get to even 145. Maybe we can get there, but it's just hard to tell because it's like different sources are disagreeing so much on this. What I'm surprised, usually by the time you get to the opening weekend, pretty much everybody's on the same page. But even this close, I think we're here now, and yet no, we don't really have agreement from all the different pundits and industry insiders who do this for a living. So which is surprising, but maybe. When sometimes when that happens, it usually means the movie is going to overperform, and they're just like having a hard time nailing down where. So I don't think it's going to underperform. It's, if anything, it's going to overperform the numbers that we're predicting for it. Now, Stephen asking Dan, the Batman Part 2 is for 2027. Yes, that is true, but that's not DCU. So it is a DC Elseworlds project, but yes, that is coming out in October 2027. He expects to read the other Batman movie script soon, but then again, John, I don't think they're going to put out both Batman movies in the same year. if they do, it's a ballsy move. I wouldn't put it past James Gunn, but I don't think overall they would want to do that. So whatever other movie they have from the DCU in that 2027 window could be Bane versus Deathstroke. I don't think it's going to be the second Batman, the DCU Batman movie. But speaking of Superman, John, the box office weekend forecast from Box Office Theory is in, and I saw this come up like literally hours before the show started, so it's relatively new. Sergeant Rock, yes, potentially could be 2027 now that it's filming next year, so that's a good point. But yeah, this forecast right now, based on the pre-sales of Superman, they're looking at somewhere between 125 to 130 million plus at the domestic launch. If you scroll down on this article, we have a few more details to get into. And this report also, of course, the full version of this is in the Substack newsletter that they put out, so you guys can check that there. But if you zoom in here, John, the key numbers are 125 to 150 million. The industry tracking is over 100 million. That's basically what DC Studios is still looking at. So DC Studios is holding a pretty conservative number. They're sticking to 100 plus million. They're not willing to say it's going to make 150 or anything like that. But let me see if I can put this up here. I wanted to highlight the Thursday number you guys have been mentioning. It's made, potentially upward of 22 million with all the walk-up business, which could reach well beyond, just the average fans, but also people like us who are bringing other people with us who wouldn't otherwise have seen the movie. So the word of mouth is traveling, and that's a good sign. The acceleration, as they say here, it has been very respectable in the days since the 4th of July holiday frame ended. And, obviously now people are changing their focus from the Jurassic World to Superman. It's not quite reached the level that they're saying it would have needed to get to that 154 plus million opening performance that was potentially achievable before the tickets went on sale. That was the numbers they were predicting earlier. So they're expecting it to potentially be still well below 150 because the pre-sales numbers didn't quite catch up to where they thought it would be. But they did draw just under 3 million from just the Prime early access screenings, which John and I both saw. And now it looks like from the Thursday numbers of doing over 22 million potentially, I think the range of 100 to 150 million is a pretty good one. And while they still have competition from a bunch of other movies, and if you go into this in more detail, they talk about a lot of the long range forecasts and stuff like that, like how much this movie could do over the course of the next few weeks. But John, the key here is 125 to 150 million. If you were a betting man, would you say it has a chance to catch an up to 150, or do you think it stays very much closer to 125, which will still be higher than Man of Steel, but nowhere close to Batman v Superman?
Yeah, I don't think. I think it'll. Yeah, I don't think. I think it'll be closer to 125.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
for me, I think
I don't know what Enterprising is pissed about in the chat, but okay.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Enterprise. Yeah, you let us know. Are you talking about the box office?
Man,
okay, so you're talking.
Man, sigh.
You brought that dog, man. Yeah, you do it better than I do, John. But
you brought that dog, man.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Look, there was an era when Warner Brothers was doing huge openings, a lot more than Disney. Like back before Disney had Star Wars and Marvel, when like Warner Brothers was pumping out not Star Wars, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter movies every other year. Disney, all they had was like Pirates of the Caribbean, really. And the script really flipped, and obviously Warner Brothers have been trying to get back to that for years, and hopefully Superman will start that process. Steven has a question for us. Is this opening number weekend for Superman higher or similar to Man of Steel? Man of Steel made 116 million domestically on opening weekend. So even on the low end of this range, 125 million will be higher than Man of Steel. And of course, they're 12 years apart. So, it's a different market, different economic environment. But still, this would be the highest grossing opening weekend of any Superman movie in history, because previously that was Man of Steel, and it is until this weekend at least. 150 million would put it right behind Batman v Superman as the second highest opening weekend of any DC movie, and the third highest overall for any Warner Brothers picture. Nico saying, I guess 1 billion box office is off the table now. I don't know. It just depends on what the legs are. Plus, also, this number is just a domestic weekend number. If they were predicting in Deadline a couple of days ago that we just talked about 100 million domestic, 100 million world internationally, so overall over 200 million. If it gets to 150 million or anywhere close to it domestically, maybe the international number will go up in a similar fashion. And if this movie opens to like 300 million more or less, John, do you think $1 billion is still on the table at that point if it starts off at 300 million or somewhere around that number?
I really don't know. I mean, because the thing is, I've been wrong about a lot of shit in the past. So, I mean,
you're not putting money on it, but like, where would you put it right now overall?
I mean, what did I say in the past? I said
you have the list. I don't have the list.
Well,
I know I said like 825. I wasn't calling for $1 billion, but yeah, that's very much true, Antonio. Studios usually
I mean,
put a
I've
conservative
said
estimate
700
out.
to 800 million. I think maybe pushing 900 million. I don't think it's going to go past 900 million. I don't think so. I think I'll go somewhere as low as 600 and as high as 900. I don't think it'll crack 9, and I don't think it'll even get to $1 billion. I hope it does, but I don't think it will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we're live tomorrow doing the open spoiler discussion for Superman, again, 9 p.m. Eastern time, but I'll keep saying it. We will have the Friday numbers.
Say it until it drives into your own head. That's when you actually start instead of starting like 2 hours later.
Wow, John, thank you. This is DCU Daily After Dark. John Sark, but it's true. That is true. Today was supposed to be a 9 p.m. show. Frankie wants to lower their number to 750. Okay, John, I guess you have to update that. Frankie was calling for $1 billion before. Nico saying 800 million is still on the table. There you go. Okay, so that would be a really respectable number. That would certainly make this movie profitable for DC Studios, and the very first outing. Warner Brothers would be very happy with that one. You know, David Zaslav, the whole Warner Brothers Discovery company. The very first Iron Man movie like made less than 600 million, like 585. One of you guys said earlier in the show. So if Superman kicks off to 800 million, that would be a really good number to start off. Enterprising saying he wants this to do 150 million, but with the political BS. Yeah, most reviews. Here's the thing, though. I don't think that will have as much of an effect, any of the negativity, because again, when you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, it's so high. It's so high and so good that the general word of mouth on this movie is just terrific. Like you've got 82% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 95% popcorn meter. You look at some of the latest reviews here. Vanity Fair saying it's a shrewdly balanced film. This is the funniest superhero movie I have seen, saying Stephen from The Australian. And you look at the audience reviews, like the movie was an absolute ride and you will fall in love with crypto so quickly, Desiree saying. So like they're just overwhelmingly positive. Now again, not everybody's going to like the movie. 278 reviews in, there's still a few more to come in, and maybe the number drops to like closer to 80%. It's at 82 now. When we started the show, was at 84, dropped to 83, and now it's dropped to 82. So it's been going down a little bit, but I don't think it gets under 80. Although, John, I know you were saying it might drop below 80 earlier.
I think it might drop below 80.
Yeah, I don't know what the math would be. Like, because it's like when you do the math, like you would need however many more reviews that are negative to go below 80. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get there. Hello, Swag fan. Wow, you're showing up really late on the show today, but that's okay. You can rewind and watch the rest of it. We've been live for a little while, but good point there. It's all about the legs for Superman. It sets the tone for the DCU, and that's exactly the key, Swag fan, because if this movie makes, like Warner Brothers wants it to, at least 500 million, they'll be happy with that. James Gunn said they don't need to make 700 million. If it kicks off to 150 domestic, I think 800 is still on the table. 800 million, like Nico was saying. Antonio saying you got a 9.5 out of 10 people that love this movie. It's going to make a ton of money. Exactly. 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So
it doesn't mean like 9.5 to 95%.
Yeah, the average score was
gives a positive review.
The average score, let's see if you click into this, Sean, like you were doing earlier, 4.6 out of 5. That's a pretty high score, actually. That's kind of almost 95%, 96% even. But as far as the critic score go, the top critics,
it did go up. It did go up from 72 to 73. So
yeah. So there you go. MTG saying, I saw so many kids in my screening tonight, early teenish. People were loving it. I can't imagine it not doing well this weekend. Well, dude, here's the thing. Look, if any movie doing 125 to 150 million at the opening weekend is a dream. Like, the only reason why we think that's a low number is because we wanted to do like 200 million like Deadpool and Wolverine did in its opening weekend last year. But that was the third movie in the franchise where the first two movies almost made $1 billion and you were bringing in Wolverine. So this Superman movie has a lot of work to do to make up for the audience's expectations, especially with DC not doing so well outside of a few exceptions the last few years. So that itself will play, a big role in lowering that initial number. But if this movie does 150 opening weekend and like close to 800 million at the box office, I bet you the Superman sequel will do a lot more. And speaking of which, John, as it turns out, David Cornsweet's already talking about the fact that he is signed up for a Superman 2. He told Vanity Fair this, and this is the first time somebody's mentioned it. Perry White, of course, played by Vandal Pierce, one of the press junket interviews a few days ago or last week, we were talking about like he almost let it slip that, that he couldn't take any props home from the Daily Planet set because they're saving it for the sequel. And he was like, ooh, did I just give away a spoiler there? So it looks like maybe Superman 2 is already in the books. John, what do you think? Do you think this is just David Cornsweet saying, I've got a deal and it's an option, they can use it? Or do you think he really means that a Superman 2 is very much like, practically in the cards? Like that is maybe what
I
James
think it's in the
working
bag at this point. I think they're seeing the projections, they're seeing the audience and critics and being overall very positive. They're like, this is going to be a hit.
Yeah. I mean, we all want a sequel. I think for me, there's a lot that they can explore. There's so much that they give us in this movie that I would love to see a sequel kind of carry that baton and move it forward. But to answer your question, Antonio, did they count the Tuesday night special screenings with the Thursday night previews, or is that just separate? They do usually count those together. So in the $22 million number that they're talking about for Thursday, that does include the $3 million roughly that they made with the Amazon Prime early screenings on Tuesday. So unless they're reporting it differently, most of the time those early screenings count with the Thursday previews because they all really count as previews in that category. So that 3 million will count into the opening weekend number when we see that on Monday. But John, with that, I think we're going to wrap things up for the night. We're going to talk more about Superman tomorrow, just hours from now. So again, one more time, guys, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time, it's going to be John, myself, and Liz, and then we'll see if Fiona can join us as well. And we're going to do a full open spoiler review of Superman. So come by.
Yeah, so screw all you people that voted for Monday. Get the hell out of here.
I'm sorry. Look, the reason why we're doing it tomorrow is because, like, Frankie, for example, like, already went inside. He couldn't wait. And a number of you guys, I'm sure, did the same. So we're just going to do it tomorrow. And then that way, you guys can go into the weekend and enjoy the movie many more times. If you don't get to see the movie until before the show tomorrow, then you can always just come back and watch the show after the fact. And again, we'll be talking in more spoiler fashion on Monday. We're not done talking about Superman. So, but good question from Smacky. I would say if I were a betting man, I'd imagine Brave and the Bold comes out first because they've already got a script that's being worked on. Whereas Superman 2, unless James Gunn's next secret project is Superman 2, I don't think he's thinking about it right now. So, yeah, another backbreaking show. Thank you guys for stopping by and sticking around. If you guys showed up a bit late, be kind and rewind. John, thank you for another fantastic evening. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be fun. It's going to be spoilery. We're going to hopefully be blessed from the beginning or blessed from the start, like James Gunn would say. And as Superman will tell you, don't forget to look up.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Honka honka!